What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Hook It podcast. Very shortly, I'm going to be joined here in studio by Ben Plenge of the Strength Factory. But before we get into this episode, I want to welcome you to our brand new show partner. Now, I don't bring partners on easily. Over the years, there's been tons of opportunity to partner up with website building platforms, mattress companies, supplement companies, all stuff that is just not useful to our listener base. So when I bring on a new partner, I want it to be of value to you guys. So I want to say a massive thank you and a huge welcome to our new show sponsors, Works, and their market-leading portable pressure cleaner, the HydroShot. The Works HydroShot redefines the way you clean. We've all been there, right? Like lugging around a huge petrol jet wash, pathetically trying to clean a bike with half a bottle of Evian, or even worse, loading a filthy bike into the back of your car or van, especially this time of year. The HydroShot runs on a PowerShare battery and draws fresh water from any source, i.e. buckets, ponds, bottles, rivers, so perfect for if you're at the track or at the end of a muddy ride to get your pride and joy nice and clean before you take it home. There are countless applications for the HydroShot around the home and on the go. I mean, what doesn't need to be kept clean? So cars, bikes, clothing, decks, patios, windows, gutters, outdoor furniture, the odd family member, everything needs to be kept clean. What's also cool is the HydroShot runs on a 20-volt PowerShare battery that you can switch between other Works 20-volt tools. So share batteries, save money, save the planet. The big question here is, do you want to win a Works HydroShot worth over £150? All you have to do is keep an eye on our Instagram feed over at the Hook It podcast over the next couple of days, and you can find out how you can win yourself a Works HydroShot worth over £150. It's as easy as that. This podcast really is the gift that keeps on giving. In the meantime, if you want to find out more about Works, head to works-europe.com, or you can pick one up from either Amazon, Argos, Halfords, Toolstation, or their official eBay store. Again, workseurope.com. Make sure you're following at the Hook It podcast on Instagram and Facebook. In the next couple of days, we're going to be doing a giveaway worth over £150 to welcome these guys to the podcast. We are also brought to you by the best underwear brand on planet Earth, saxunderwear.com. And right now, I want to talk to you about the Day Tripper Boxer Brief. The Day Tripper is the latest addition to the Sax Everyday category. It's that £20 hitter. £20 to get you introduced to this brand. You can't argue with that, folks, can you? For £20, what do you get? Well, you get 3D fit, which means no wedges that you didn't ask for. Flat out seams, which keeps all the seams on the outside of the underwear, which means no more chafing from that seam. They are natural touch synthetic. They are moisture wicking. They feature a fly, which means if you want to come through the gate rather than jump over the wall, they got you covered. And they feature the patented ballpark pouch, which if you're not sure what that is yet, where have you been? Imagine an upside down baseball catcher's mitt. Imagine your nutsack sat in that, which means it will stop your nuts, from sticking to the inside of your leg. No more skin-on-skin friction, no more chafing, no more bat wing. Unbelievable comfort. If you've never experienced them before, the Day Tripper is the perfect way to get involved in the Sax brand. Available from your local ski, bike, outdoor or fashion retailer for just $19.99. That is the Sax Day Tripper. If you want to find out more information, head to saxunderwear.com. All right, folks, a little bit longer ad read than normal, but hey, if it wasn't for those companies getting involved, there would be no podcast. So huge props once again to those guys, and a huge welcome to Works for getting involved. Each and every episode of this thing, we like to give away a pair of Sax underwear. All you have to do if you want to win yourself a pair of Sax is leave a review on iTunes, or just help spread the message of this podcast either through Instagram, on your stories, or a post, or on Facebook. Wherever it is you guys can help share, it really helps build the platform. And we don't really do any advertising, so this is the people's podcast. So please, thank you for helping raise awareness. If your name on iTunes is Richard Bonsall, then you have won yourself a fresh pair of duds. Richard, reach out on Instagram or Facebook and we will get a fresh pair of sacks in the post instantly to you. All right, on today's episode, I am joined by our good mate, Ben Plenge. Now, Ben came on the podcast first of all in January. This time, he made the trip up to Sheffield to the new studio. So we sat and had a good chat about basically building a foundation for your strength, fitness, and for everything really, for action sports. Ben talks about the importance of building a solid foundation, amongst other things. You know, we go down some rabbit holes, etc. But hey, that's what we do on this thing. So don't forget to bear with us until the end too, where you will get an offer for Ben's strength and fitness platform. He's got an offer code to get, I think it's half price off the first month. So yeah, super cool. And without further ado, let's hand over to a little bit of Odub, a little bit of Zeb, and then let's get into this episode. Enjoy, and thanks again to all of you for listening.
Welcome to the Hook It podcast, endorsed by @Odub_23. Add me, tag me. Follow me. Please follow me.
Keep very calm. Give me all your money. Try to count to 10. Little doesn't know it's about to begin. Push it too far, you're the killing machine.
The shit that goes with it.
Yeah.
Is the hard part.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed. I always tell people, I'm like, start now, I can edit some stuff out. I always tell people, start a podcast. You literally need a piece of 200 quid equipment.
Yeah.
You can do it way less. You know, you probably could do it off an iPhone. I'm always like, just start a podcast. But then a few people have done it and then they've gone, actually, I can't be arsed with the rest of the work that goes into behind the scenes of it.
The artwork.
The editing.
The social media.
Sometimes editing. Rarely editing.
Yeah. And I guess you've got to, do you separately upload it to SoundCloud, to iTunes? Like, how does it work? Is it
you have like a podcast hosting service, so that does filter everything off.
Oh, and so it just goes boom, boom, boom to those places.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you only have to really upload it once. But then if you're doing YouTube separately or clips, or obviously you've got to build all that as well. The hardest thing of it is that, and guest sourcing. Like guest sourcing and scheduling is a nightmare.
Yeah.
I've screwed. Yeah. I think I've got a 100% hit rate with screwing up the time zones with foreign guests. I always am an hour early or an hour behind.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, I'm late or I'm too early. Just sat there twiddling my thumbs.
Play it cool. Bluff it.
Yeah. Anyway, dude, great to have you back up here. Real cool.
Yeah.
In studio.
Big time.
Yeah, man.
Joe Rogan, straight Hook It. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's good to be up here. You haven't been to Sheffield in a long time. And last time we recorded, you came down to Bristol. So it's good to venture up north.
It's amazing.
It's a bit colder, a bit wetter.
Definitely
they sound
cold
funny
and wet
today. But it's all good.
People sound funny, Jesus Christ. No, I appreciate it. Honestly, I really appreciate you coming up here. And I was saying to you before, it's just really nice to have guests come here and hang out. Now we've got like the studio space where we can just hang out, and this is going to get better. You know, I've got big plans. You know, I've got big plans, dude. We're going to level everything up a little bit by getting some more things in here, microphone tech, video, all that sort of stuff.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Like you were saying before, I don't want to get too complacent of just doing the easy stuff.
Yeah.
The easy stuff is just sitting behind a laptop.
Keep
don't want to
pushing.
give the trade secrets away right now, but you know, I want to keep moving forward with this thing and not.
This is decent though. You know, this is. I'm sitting in an armchair that's probably nicer than the one in my house. You've got some cool stuff on the walls, some nice mountain bike memorabilia.
Yeah.
You've got a cactus on the table.
Yep.
And,
ping pong table outside.
Yeah, there's a green light, which hopefully means this is recording. So
Who knows?
It's basically as professional as it gets.
It's cool, isn't it? It's nice. It's nice. Like I say, it's so much better just to sit and chat to people. You know, you do get, I've noticed over the years of doing this, you get so much from people's mannerisms and just social cues almost, like you know when to talk, when not to talk. You know, you lose that a lot with the whole Skype thing.
Just natural.
It's been great, like using it to build up the following and the listener base and get amazing guests on that.
Yeah, like I listened to the Goldstones.
Yeah.
Jackson,
They'd never
Dan.
have come here to
No,
see me. So
you need someone to pay for that, really, don't you?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is what it is. But
yeah. So it's cool. Moving more towards having random guests on, and just being able to invite him here. And a little bit gutted. I was going to film this one, but I lost my GoPro. I lost it this weekend. I have no clue at all where it is. It's not where it should be. So yeah. Anyway, leveling up. I'm gonna get some nice cameras. We're gonna sort of like make this thing more of a
happy days
thing.
Well, if I come back on next time, I'm gonna have to brush my hair then and maybe iron my shirt.
Just wear a hat.
Yeah.
All right, man. So again, good of you to come up. Really appreciate it. You came on for the first time it was January.
Yeah, it was this January actually.
It was January, yeah. So
new year, new you, all that business. I answered a lot of questions, and I must admit, whilst I think it went down well, a lot of people I know said, Ben, you had a filthy mouth. And basically, I was not too nervous, but I was a bit overstimulated. I had too much coffee, and I was a bit swearier than normal because I was overexcited.
I didn't even notice. Really?
Yeah. If you listen to it back, I was definitely... And I'm not a saint or anything, but I'm not normally that sweary. So I'm caffeinated to a lower degree today. I'm feeling quite calm. And you're going to get the real me, but without so many F-bombs. Yeah.
I must admit, I have done a few where I've been way over caffeinated.
Yeah,
way over caffeinated.
And I was just, I was looking forward to it. I was excited. Yeah, it's cool to be on it.
It's cool, isn't it? It's cool.
Yeah,
man. It's cool. It's cool. Like I say, it's cool. It's cool to have you back here and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, you came on in January, and the objective with the January podcast, we were going to talk about, I guess, the race season, because it was sort of coming around to race season.
Yeah, it's winter training basically, and everyone's just full of positive energy and good intentions in January to improve themselves in some part of their life, whether that's health, fitness, racing, whatever. So it's a good time. People like me in my world, business is good in January. You get more emails, you get more phone calls. Hey, I want to start working in the gym. I want to get a program. I want to get ready for racing. And so I just wanted to put a message out there, try and give people some sound advice. Some, level, no nonsense advice, based on, coaching people for nearly 10 years now.
Crazy. So, just so this is a bit of a standalone episode, I think, so if people do want to learn more about like your backstory, go back to that episode.
Yeah, we talk a bit about my backstory there, about how I got here, through the army and things like that. So that is in the episode. I'm sure we can figure out the number, but it's the first one in January, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. It's the first one in January. So I don't know the number, I'll be honest with you. But
so I won't bore them with that nonsense again.
No, but you got into doing the strength and conditioning coaching about 10 years ago then?
Yeah, so originally like mainstream gym PT, getting helping mums lose dress size, helping people go, look better on the beach and all the normal stuff, which is fine and there's nothing wrong with it.
Do you still do any of that?
No.
Really?
No.
You just
I
fully
don't have
into...
any, action sports only.
Wow.
And just, I guess broader than action sports, anyone who's doing something that interests me and I'm stoked on.
Yeah.
Like I've just started working with a lad called Justin, who's double amputee from Afghanistan, so both legs above the knee.
Oh, I saw that guy.
Yeah. And I was like,
respect,
smashing him on the sled at the gym.
Yeah, I saw that
because he's
one.
going to climb Kilimanjaro, as you do, in January.
Wow.
And so, is that action sports? Who cares? Am I into it? Yeah. So I'm going to coach
something.
him.
Out of the ordinary, maybe.
If you're doing something interesting and rad, action sports, a challenge, an adventure, then those people, regardless of what exactly that is, they just come with good energy and they're great to work with. And it makes it easy to drag myself out of bed.
Rad dude. That, like I said, I saw that Instagram post. So what's his story? He had his legs blown off.
Yeah, so I didn't know him when we were in the army.
Okay.
So
similar age?
Yeah. No, so he's a little bit younger than me.
Okay.
Stood on an IED basically, and that was that. Yeah, both legs.
Wow.
But yeah, so he climbed Mont Blanc this year, as you do, and you should see the pictures and the videos.
Really?
Yeah, that guy's got some guts.
Really? No doubt, dude.
That's gnarly.
That is.
But imagine climbing Mont Blanc hard enough, but then effectively on all fours, pretty much.
How does he do it? Again, for people, probably need to go to your Instagram to find this video. I saw it the other day. I was like, holy shit.
His Instagram is Inspiration Through Adversity.
Shout
Probably
out.
the best. Yeah, shout out to Justin.
Yeah.
I'll make him listen to it. He doesn't know about mountain bikes.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll get him to have a listen.
That's cool.
And yeah. I mean, what he does is rad, and he does talks at schools and
Does
stuff
he?
like that. And yeah,
There's something really, really motivational about people that have gone through something that hard and traumatic
yeah,
and have turned it round. And,
yeah,
and
totally.
then-
And he's just got his head screwed on.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
And sometimes, you know, if you're having a bad day or something, and then I'm like whinging about, I know someone's cut me up in the van, and then you get to the gym and like, oh yeah, there's Justin without his fucking legs.
Yeah.
And
Perspective change.
there I am swearing again. I said I wouldn't. Sorry. So but then there's Justin getting out of his van without legs, and you think, you know what? Who cares who cut me up in the van? And
So is it knee down?
above the knee.
Above the knee. So
Yeah.
then he wears prosthetic legs,
Yeah.
which are operated through his thigh, I guess. Is that how
yeah.
that works? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Wow. Shout out
they're
Justin.
amazing bits of kit. These legs, like amazing bits of kit. The technology built into them, and all of that, and they're custom made to fit his stumps basically. So yeah, and it's been as well as he's a real sound guy. We get on really well. We've got the ex-army thing to talk about, and nothing's out of bounds really. You can banter him pretty hard, and vice versa. But what was I saying? Yeah, so
He's got no legs.
yeah, but he's got no legs, so training him
Just
is
gets after
not
it.
easy straight away.
Yeah.
There's a learning curve for me, which ultimately training athletes is generally pretty easy when they're not broken,
Okay.
because they can do everything you ask them to,
Yeah.
and they're normally really coordinated. So I'll say, right, do this, and I'll do 1 rep, and then they just copy it, and they can do it.
Okay.
That's what the best athletes are like.
Yeah.
Really easy to train. But training somebody who either isn't very athletic or is less able, or in this case, there's we need to figure out how to do stuff. So right, how do we get Justin working hard in a way that works?
Yeah.
And there's been plenty of things that haven't worked, but you just tick them off, right?
That's
Let's
really
try
good for
something
you
else.
though, 'cause it's totally
Yeah,
different.
it gets my
Keeps
brain
it-
whirring
exactly.
a bit for sure.
Yeah, keeps
Yeah.
it fresh.
Yeah, so
Jeez, dude, amazing. What? Right. So the objective of today is we're going to try and come at these hundreds of thousands of listeners with a way of creating a foundation,
yes.
which is something that you really want to talk about because it's probably the most important thing about getting started or even maintaining your fitness
Yeah.
and strength is by having a really strong foundation.
Exactly.
So that's what we're going to try and do today. So let's sort of, I don't know, where do you want to start this, man? How can we get, get this thing rolling? Because we got a load of listener questions. Which
Yeah, we've got some questions
as well,
at the
so
end
it's going to be
again.
quite listener generated,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
amazing. Love when people engage in this thing. But the objective then is, so we're going to try and talk about a foundation.
Yeah. So for
Let's
me, if I define my approach to training, to coaching people, the first point is to build a foundation. Like build a solid foundation, and that is, it's sport specific to a certain degree, but really it's more about the properties of being a human, an athletic human,
Yeah.
and that foundation is like your aerobic fitness, it's your mobility, it's your basic movement skills to put your body in different positions and coordinate your muscles and your limbs and things like that. And it's just building that solid foundation to then build the rest of your fitness on. And I think a lot of people, and this has got worse with the constant bombardment by social media and seeing like training videos, #beast mode, and all this nonsense, is that everyone just wants to do that.
Right.
They
just
see
skip
the pro
fundamentals.
doing some insane workout and he's dripping with sweat and he's all muscly and he's a pro and he's got a Red Bull helmet or whatever. Well, I want to do that. But the reality is that you're a 38-year-old accountant, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're a 16-year-old kid, or or whatever, or you're a bit overweight, and but actually, that athlete, they show you the exciting, jazzy stuff, don't they?
Yeah.
As we know, that's what social media is.
Social media,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's like show you all the good stuff.
Yeah. Highlight reel.
They don't show you the years of doing maybe aerobic based miles. It's not very exciting.
Yeah.
They don't show you that, maybe spending 20 minutes on the foam roller and doing some mobility every evening.
Yeah.
Because that's what the top pros are doing, because they're disciplined and they want to be the best.
Yeah.
They just show you those snippets. And so people they want to do what the pros do, and they want to do what the cool stuff is at the time, high intensity interval training and all this sort of stuff, and just
skip
crazy sprint training workouts until you're sick in the gutter outside your house and stuff.
I think we spoke about this on the first episode.
Yeah, we did touch on it. Yeah,
I love that shit. I'm like the worst for it. I'm just going, I just want to go so hard that I vomit.
And it's
you have
fine,
to,
but it's about balance, you know?
Yeah.
And what you get out of that training, that high intensity training, it is down to, number one, how much energy you have and motivation you have when you start it on the day, which is down to what you've done the rest of that week. And then it also, the better your foundation is, the higher level you're going to be able to achieve during that training session. And therefore, the more you can get out of it. So if we're always doing that stuff and then you're permanently a bit tired, and then every training session, high intensity session, which needs to be at 100% effort, is suddenly now, it's only 95%, it's 90%, it's 80%.
Yeah.
When actually, if we're doing the majority of your training at lower intensities, and then when you do the high intensity, you can absolutely commit 100% to it, then you're going to get more out of that session. And what we've got to think about here is, you know, people listen to this, if they're into training, some may just be into training for training's sake, and they may not be thinking about performance on a motocross bike or on a mountain bike.
Yeah.
And that's fine. In which case, I'd say you've got a bit more freedom, crack on, beast yourself, just listen to your body. But if you want to use strength, fitness and the gym to improve your performance on the bike, then actually your goal is to get as strong and as fit as possible whilst doing as little and expending as little energy as possible. So you've got maximum time, energy and focus to ride your bike and improve your skills and actually get better. It's been shown that you can't acquire skills as easily when you're fatigued.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's say Saturday morning you want to go and session some turns with the boys. That is a really good way to get better at riding a bike, to develop skills.
Yeah.
But if you're absolutely nailed because you did some insane workout on Friday and you can't lift your legs and stuff, then your scope for acquiring skill
Makes total sense.
is reduced. And so it all comes back anyway to, this, for me, that importance, especially now, if you're thinking about 2020 race season, you've got all this time now, between now and the new year, you can just build a really good foundation of fitness, which for me is aerobic fitness, which I'll explain in a second. It's mobility and it's movement. And that's exactly what I'm doing with my men and women in the gym at this time of year, basically.
So some of the pro athletes then that you work with, when it comes to this time of year, do they go back to the fundamentals and just keep almost like
we revisit
maintenance?
them every year. Yeah, totally.
Because I think some athletes, certainly some sports I've been around, it comes to the off season and it's just like let the brakes off, hit the booze, hit the drugs. Do you know what I mean? It's with certain athletes. That is...
Sorry, I said yes. There is definitely a break. There is a mental and physical break, and depending on when the season ended and how they feel. So some of my guys aren't back in the gym yet.
Okay.
Some
so
are.
you just let them do their own thing.
Yeah, I say chill out. If you want to ride your bike, ride it for fun.
Yep.
No Strava, no heart rate. I don't care how far you ride, how fast you ride. Just do whatever. And if you don't want to ride it for a couple of weeks, then that's cool.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you know, the guys who really care about their performance, they don't go too mad because they don't want to turn up to the gym with extra 3 kilos on their belly in November and just feeling like a slug, you know. So, they don't need me to tell them that because they're motivated anyway.
Yeah.
So, so that's cool. So yeah, that break is important, and a lot of people are still off now in October because we're talking at the end of October, and then I'll start nudging them back in the gym gradually in November.
Okay.
And every November we revisit a version of this where, you know, it's different every year to keep it interesting and to challenge them in different ways. For the pro guys, you know, the high level guys that I work with, you know, they get it more individualized to their needs. You know, I know I've worked with some of them for several years, and I know so-and-so, he gets really tight across the upper back and shoulders, his overhead mobility is constantly poor, and so we're just going to do lots of ground-based maybe movement and thoracic mobility and things like that to help improve that.
Yeah.
And so then he's in a better place to then go and do the more demanding, heavier training in December.
Got you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And January and so on. Whereas, you know, everyone's got these little niggles and problems and restrictions and things.
Yeah.
And if we can address that a bit at the start and really focus on it, then it just lets you train in a safer, more committed manner when that time comes to lift the heavy weights, to do the 3 sets of 3 with, you know, 80, 90% of your 1 rep max on deadlift.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So.
Okay. I think personally I'm in a similar situation at the minute. I've decided, just went through this whole marathon thing.
Oh, mate, yeah. Well done.
Nightmare. But got it done. And then I feel like, personally, I'm not happy with how I look. You know, I lost a lot of weight doing this running, because all I was doing was running, because I was really conscious of not having it be a total sufferfest. It ended up being a total sufferfest.
Yeah, so I heard.
But I tried not to make it a sufferfest.
Yeah.
So I was just running loads and not doing anything else. Like, I've not lifted a weight for months and months. And so one thing I'm really doubling back on now is just mobility, because I'm the least flexible person I've ever. Like, I'm as flexible as a, you know, stair freaking
that
post.
cactus?
Yeah, and I'm not flexible. I never have been.
Yeah.
You know, throughout all of my life of racing, you know, 2-wheel things, I've always been really, really unflexible. So I'm now doubling down on every night. I'm stretching. So that's one thing that, from a personal standpoint, I'm like, right, I'm going to have a month or 2 now of just doing bodyweight exercises, just stretching and trying to, like, I really want to be able to touch my toes.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do that.
Does your girlfriend put your trainers on for you then?
Pretty much. See, I'm wearing Velcro.
Velcros.
But I really want to be able to
a metre-long shoehorn.
Exactly. I really want to, like, you know, be able to touch my toes, for example. And just get my mobility up a little bit.
That's cool.
So that's from a personal standpoint.
That is music to my ears.
Yeah.
Like,
I'd love to be able to do
that.
splits as well.
Yeah.
I know that's like a whole new level, but
I don't like the idea of just sitting on my ball bag like that, I'll be honest.
Sacks, dude, keeps them in.
Yeah, I'm wearing Sacks today because it was a long drive up from Bristol. And you sent me some day trippers recently.
Yes.
Because, in case people don't know, I do bike testing and product review for Wide Open. And so, I asked you for some of their new pants and you sent me them kindly. But then I didn't fully think it through, because I then thought, oh shit, am I going to have to do like photos in my pants or something? Like, number one, no one wants to see that. And Dave, who does our photography for the bike test, he definitely doesn't want to see that. So we're going to have to get creative, I think. But that's a whole side story. Let's get back on. But yeah.
So let's talk about then building a foundation.
Yeah.
Where should people start?
So, aerobic.
Okay.
Now, to some people, it's almost a dirty word, like this idea that low-level aerobic base miles is like this dated thing that, you know, you don't need it, you only need high-intensity interval training and all this sort of thing. When it's simply not the case.
Okay.
Because people, they talk about aerobic and anaerobic exercise. Aerobic being with oxygen, so a low level, anaerobic without oxygen, a higher intensity, when you start to feel the burn, basically. So sprints and that sort of thing are anaerobic, and then, you know, there's a sliding scale. So that's what I'm trying to get at there. It's not binary. An exercise or a training session is not 100% anaerobic.
Okay.
There will always be an aerobic part to it. So
okay. And usually what would that be like?
Well, so it varies on the duration. So yeah, maybe a 5-second sprint is just anaerobic, yeah?
Yep.
But then if you're doing like 1-minute efforts, which would be called anaerobic training, there's a large proportion of that is done with your aerobic energy systems, yeah?
Okay.
And if you're then doing repeated efforts over time, then increasingly more of that work gets done aerobically, yeah?
Right.
So, for instance, I had a quick look earlier just to get some numbers. So it's running, but it gives you the idea. So 800 meter, yeah?
Yep.
Really intense, savage. I think it takes, I don't know, 100 seconds or something, let's say.
Right.
And you would 100% say anaerobic. It's an anaerobic game.
Yep.
It's going to burn. It's going to really hurt. But yet around 65 to 70% of that, according to the studies I looked at, is aerobic.
Right,
So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's your aerobic system is doing more than half of the work, and then the anaerobic tops it up. And the anaerobic gives you that top level speed, that ability to keep going.
Okay.
And training your anaerobic, I'm not saying it's not important,
Yeah.
but if you truly want to, reach higher levels of fitness and thinking race fitness here, to be going hard at the end of a moto, to be going hard for 5 minutes down Fort William downhill track, or to race the final stage of an EWS in the Alps somewhere, then it's that aerobic fitness that underpins everything else.
Okay.
And I think that this is really neglected. It's really out of fashion. And part of the reason I wanted to come on is because I am fighting this constant battle with online and with people I coach and things like that, when I'm asking them to do base aerobic work and they say, Ben, it's too easy. I can't be getting any
And
fitter. So what we're
give us
looking
an
at
example of a
is,
base
if you
aerobic.
were to use heart rate training, it would
Yep.
be zone 2,
Okay.
which is a pretty low level.
Yep.
If you were to use like a scale from 1 to 10, where 10 is the most discussed, heart rate maximum, your eyes are popping out your head, you want to die, and 1 is us now.
Yep.
You'd be looking at maybe a 5 or something like that, a 4 or
Right.
5.
Yep.
So if you were on a group ride, you'd be able to talk easily with your friends like we are now. You wouldn't have to break up sentences, and things like that. Another good gauge is, if you're riding on your own, is are you able to ride, or whatever it is you're doing, walk, run, with your mouth closed and entirely breathe through your nose.
Right.
So they're all
That's
good gauges,
Okay.
like real world. So we've got technology at one end, heart rate and data, and all that goes with that. But a lot of people don't like that. That's fine. So then we've got these other ways of just gauging.
Yeah.
Because what happens on your average group ride is that most of the group are going out for a Sunday mountain bike ride, to ride trail or trail ride. And most of the ride is spent a bit too fast and a bit too intense to gain the benefits of aerobic training,
Right.
but not really quite fast enough to really develop your maybe lactate threshold or your VO2 max, which sounds really jargony, but basically think of like your low-end endurance fitness and then your high-end race fitness. Think of it like that.
Yeah.
And most trail rides sit right bang in the middle. And you will get fitter over time. You'll make some improvements in your aerobic, some improvement in that, that high end as well.
Yeah.
But actually, spending more time riding aerobically, and then some time at that, very specifically riding at that high intensity as well, that's going to then give you the fitness and the performance to be a better trail rider, enduro racer, downhill racer,
Right.
or anything really.
Okay,
It's the same principles apply.
Yeah.
It's principles, not specifics.
Okay. And you think most people are getting this bad information through social media and stuff like that?
Well, it's just
Not
it's kind of
bad information, but
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, yes.
and like you say, it's the glitz and glamour of sweating.
and it's easily done as well.
Yeah.
And I'll put my hands up. In the earlier parts of my career, I was getting this a bit wrong as well.
Right.
I really was, because it's easy to think, because one of the core things as a coach is to be specific with the training in regards to the sport or the event. Yeah. And so you look at downhill and you say, well, it's 3 minutes. So I don't need to do any 2-hour road rides. That's ridiculous. It's not specific. It's wasting my time and energy.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the same things kind of happen in boxing and stuff as well, where, road miles are, it's back in.
I was thinking of boxing as
Yeah,
a sort of,
because in the old days,
just go out.
Rocky would be going out pounding his ears, have his hoodie up,
Yeah.
doing the steps, and in theory should be getting your aerobic base conditioning in,
Okay.
and then that was just out. Oh, no one's doing road miles anymore. They're just doing high intensity interval training and all of this sort of
almost
thing.
like a
And then it's come
fashion
full circle. Yeah, and no doubt maybe this will come in again soon.
Yeah.
But the problem with the aerobic training that I'm talking about is that it does take a bit of time. And what's everyone struggling for these days?
Time, exactly.
Time. Everyone's
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah.
And so I don't have time to do a 3-hour base training ride. And it's like, I know that. I don't expect the people I coach to do that on a Tuesday, because especially in the winter.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
And so, but little and often is really effective.
Okay.
It might be altering your commute to make it longer, or possibly just having the discipline to suck it up and ride your commute a little bit slower.
Right.
So you're aerobic a couple of days a week.
Yeah.
Let's compromise here. I'm not saying you have to get overtaken by Bromptons every day, because you've got your carbon road bike. You don't want that, do you? But and your shaved legs and your fancy shoes. But but let's just start with a couple of days a week then.
Okay.
And you reduce your speed down to ride aerobically, and you'll find there are lots of benefits to it. There's the physiological benefits, which then underpin the fitness gains you can make later. The fact it's less tiring, so you may have less appetite. So if you're trying to drop some body fat, you may not burn as many actual calories during an hour as if you're doing high intensity, but if your appetite isn't then put through the roof, you're less likely to overeat afterwards.
Yeah.
It improves your fat burning capability. So potentially on a long Sunday ride, you're less likely to hit the wall, get a massive sugar low and go all pale, and which we've all seen and possibly experienced as well.
Yep.
So I really do try and encourage in all of my programs and with everyone I coach, no matter what you're doing, building your aerobic fitness is only going to be a positive thing. Now, obviously, up to a point.
Yeah.
An enduro racer, a motocross racer, needs a lot more than a downhill racer, obviously. But the downhill racer still needs it because their aerobic fitness lets them recover between runs. So if you're doing 8 practice runs on a Saturday, the more aerobically fit you are, the more strong you are, the better you were able to tolerate those
Heart
runs.
rate comes back down.
You recover quickly between runs, or you recover quickly between sprint efforts on a race run.
Yeah.
And then you can sprint again. Because one sprint is cool to show people the watt bike. Yeah, I can bang out 2,000 watts, mate. But if the next one's 1,000 watts, then the guy who does 5 sprints at 1,300 watts is going to beat you.
Yeah. True. Very good. Yeah.
And that 5 sprints at 1,300 watts is built on an aerobic foundation. On top of that aerobic foundation is the sprint training and the more anaerobic training, basically.
Okay. So you're trying to really double down then with some of your clients, especially to be like, right, you need to get your base.
Yeah.
Yep. Aerobic fitness.
Absolutely.
In.
Absolutely.
And a good example of that would be a long run, a long ride.
Yeah. And you can do it on the rower. You can do it on the you can do it on the rower.
Okay.
You can do
Is there
it
sort
on
of
the
time limit.
The assault bike.
Okay.
Everyone thinks
that's hard.
Yes. Satan's tricycle, they call it, and it's minging. Like no one likes it. Everyone looks at it, and they just assume that all you can do with it is just ruin yourself.
Right.
But put some tunes on. The saddles are normally rubbish on them, to be fair. But apart from the saddle hurting your bum, you
nice
could do
and steady.
20 minutes, half an hour on it in your lunch break aerobically. And then the great thing there as well that really relates to bike sports is that you are also working your upper body in an aerobic way as well. Same on the rower.
Okay.
The rower doesn't have to be for ruining yourself. Yeah. It can be, and it is 10, sometimes. And I'm not saying that I'm just some soft trainer. My athletes never work hard. They will tell you otherwise. Yeah. But when we do work hard, we really work hard. But it's about being smart, isn't it? It's about what are we trying to achieve when you come for coaching with a professional strength and conditioning coach? Are you trying to leave ruined every time?
That's what I was going to ask you as well. Is
what do you want to get at, or do you want to be stronger? So if I say, right, you can be this much stronger and fitter, let's plus 5 points strength, top trumps, You can be plus 5 points strength, top trump style, and you can do it only using plus 3 energy points or plus 12 energy points, minus 12 or minus 3 energy points,
Yeah.
Well, what do you want to do?
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, let's get as strong as we can, as fit as we can, using as little energy and time as we can, because the sport isn't weight training, it isn't sprint training and interval training. The sport is mountain biking or motocross or whatever I'm doing. Yeah. And so,
is that something that you've had then running the business? Is people leaving feeling like you've not had a good workout?
Yeah, you know what?
They just don't understand the fundamentals.
And yeah, I won't lie. I've lost clients over this.
Yeah.
Where it's on me as well. I take responsibility for everything I do, and I haven't done a good enough job of selling it.
Right.
Which is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
Because they think, well, I'm paying Ben, and I've just been out for this ride, and I feel pretty good. I could go again. Maybe I should,
Yeah, maybe you didn't know what he's talking about.
It's like, and obviously I hadn't in the past done a good enough job of explaining to them why, so they would understand.
Yeah.
And similarly with my online programs, I'm having to put more effort into not just giving them the sets and reps and do this ride and do that ride, but if I want to keep people on those online programs, if they stick on it a couple of months, they all stay,
right?
Because then they actually experience the results, and that's what you're paying for,
yeah.
But sometimes I have people leave the program after in the first month or two, saying, "Oh, I wanted something a bit more intense and higher, and that sort of thing," which is fine.
And I think we're so used to that instant gratification, aren't we?
Yeah, I know.
Like, I want to look in the mirror tomorrow and have a 6-pack.
Yeah, totally.
And it ain't gonna happen,
It's and that, again, that's the world we're in, isn't it?
It is.
And everyone wants what's the one single exercise
what's the quickest way,
and everything's hacks this and 6-week abs and all of that. And it's all nonsense. And I think as a whole, as society, we just need to have a better appreciation of just being realistic and actually you have to work for stuff. If you haven't exercised regularly in 5 years, and over the last 5 years you've put on 3 stone, do you think you can suddenly get really fit and lean in 8 weeks or even 8 months?
True, yeah.
No, of course you can't.
Yeah.
Get a grip of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. And yet people seem to think that they should be able to because they want
They've
to.
seen it on Instagram as well.
Because they've seen it on Instagram. So-and-so says so.
Yeah.
They're a little bit entitled maybe in their attitudes, and nobody's willing to... I'm all about... right now I'm about getting people ready for 2020 race season. That's the work.
Okay.
My diary's packed in November.
Yeah.
It's my busiest month of the year. And I'm going to start building that foundation so when they hit the racing then. But I've also wanted to still be racing and still be feeling fit and strong in September at the end of the season.
Got you. Yeah.
Rather than how commonly do you see athletes who are like burnt out mid-season?
Oh, mate,
they start bang, 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 and then they're done. And then they have time off, they get ill, whatever. Touch wood, not something I have a problem with. Brilliant. Now maybe, you've always got to weigh it up though, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, where's that athlete's most important race? Is it in April?
Yeah, do you look at that then? Do you look at the schedule and be like, you need to be peaking around here or...
And it's tricky, eh?
Yeah,
it's a dark art.
No doubt. No doubt. That's
and you know what? You make a plan, but then it changes 5 times. And it's just... It's a constant conversation.
Maybe if there was like one event like the Olympics,
relatively
not easy, but like you can go, look, we've got 4 years to get you to this point.
Yeah.
But when you've got a load of other events and races and stuff,
and that's the thing as well. I mean, it's very different to action sports, but things like the British cycling, like track program, where you're on a 4-year training cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that 4-year training cycle, and that's insane to peak. In 4 years'
think of doing
time.
anything for 4
so let's
years
see, in fact, it's Tokyo 2020. So, right, we're going to get you ready for the 2024 Olympics. You're going to race track. What do you've got to map it out. And you know that, right, this year I need to gain half a second on this length. And next year I need to gain 0.7 of a second. And then, right, that's the target time. I think that's going to be a gold winning time. And they can, and it's just bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah, that is forward planning to the nth degree, isn't it?
And you know what? And that is not my bag.
Yeah. And there's so many variables as well that comes in 4 years.
Yeah.
So many variables.
Because we're human, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Like tripping down the stairs, like anything can just throw the
just
whole
get a
thing
cold.
out.
Yeah.
Cold at that point.
Yeah.
Imagine going to the Olympics with a cold.
Oh, you'd just be
Dude.
gutted, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Or you get food poisoning or something.
Yeah.
And, everything I've worked for all my life is savage, isn't it? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Anyway, so we've sort of touched on then, I guess. One thing you did mention as well was time, which no doubt we can talk about.
Yeah. I mean,
That's, again, just having done my personal little training journey of training for a marathon. The time was one of the biggest factors, was as you start getting fitter, the runs are taking longer.
yeah.
Just the time and effort you need to put in
Yeah.
takes longer, And I was doing what you just said, actually trying to really break it all down. So a friend of mine who does a lot of marathon training said 30 miles a week, no matter how you do it. So you can do a 2 mile and then a 8.
Yeah.
So that's
and-
your 10, you know what I mean? You can just,
I know exactly what you
and
mean.
that was nice to think about, and not thinking I just have to go out and do 2 15-mile runs.
Yeah, I
That was
totally
pretty
agree.
nice.
And that you've just got to be pragmatic and live in the real world where there's no such thing as perfect training.
No.
There's something is better than nothing. It's like, I don't have time to do 4 hours of training that this coach says I need, or that, that I need to be competitive. Well, can you do 3? Because if you do 3 hours of good quality training, you can still make loads of gains.
Yeah.
And it's still better than none, or better than 2.
Yeah.
It might not be 4, but it's 3. Who cares?
Yeah.
And I really like that. 30 miles a week, you've got a really clear thing, you can tick it off.
Yep.
And
No
you
matter
can
how you
make
get
it.
there.
Yeah, you can make it work. It's Friday and I'm short, I'm going to run to work and tick off that last 3 miles.
Yeah.
Bosh, done.
Exactly.
And
that was really helpful, actually. That helped me just get my head around what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
It really did.
It's like I try not to be too prescriptive with the aerobic training, both with the online programs and with the people I coach, where I say, 40 to 90 minutes aerobic, simple.
A week?
No, like that could be a session.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, it could, and if they did half an hour, who cares?
Yeah.
It's still better than 15 or nothing.
For sure.
It's not 40, it's not 90, but it's still something.
Yeah.
It's still going to elicit a small training effect. It's still going to help improve your physiology and build that aerobic base to then build on later. And so I just give them that window, and then, then sometimes what I like to do as well is, and again, people think, it's not very specific, but in the same way, 30 miles, maybe in the new year or something, especially these EWS races are so long, some of them, they're brutal.
They
and
are.
then you've got 2 days of practice.
Yeah.
And if you're a privateer, you're pedaling it all, you're not getting lifts like the pros.
Yeah.
And then you've got 2 days of racing. And so I'll give them, I'll say, right, maybe you'll only come to the gym once this week, and you do what I call a max mileage week. Where I say, this week, I don't care what, where, how, I don't even really care how fast. Just this week, you want to rack up as big a number as possible.
Right.
On the way to work, after work, a night ride,
Turbo
on
trainer,
the road, turbo trainer.
Just anything.
Yeah, let's just get a big old fat load of miles in those legs this week, and then usually followed by a recovery week or something. Or at the end of the week, a big enduro trail ride or whatever, or an uplift or something. And then the key, as always, recover.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the beauty as well. Aerobic training, really easy to recover from. High intensity interval training and really hard anaerobic sessions and punch yourself in the dick CrossFit wads. Hard to recover from.
Yeah.
Recovery, we won't go deep in there, it's a whole podcast, but recovery, just think it real simple. Hydrate, eat, sleep, boom.
Yeah.
There you go. All the rest is
I think we spoke about that actually on the
I think we
first
did.
one.
Yeah,
about how I've definitely, again, in my old personal fitness journey, have become way more mindful of how much I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
Because, again, people wear that as a badge of honor of like, I only got 4 hours last night and I'm up and I'm out. And it's like, you're doing it all wrong. Like, you need to be getting your 8 hours minimum of sleep.
The harder you train, the harder you've got to recover.
Yeah. And you do sometimes feel like it's counterproductive being laid in bed, but your body is telling you, I need sleep.
Yeah, that's when you get stronger. That's when you get fitter, is when you're recovering.
Yeah.
After the session is finished, you are less fit and less strong than when you started because you are fatigued. Yeah?
Yeah.
You then recover, and then your body adapts during that recovery time, And then after that period of recovery, so it might only be 12 hours to recover, or 8 hours to recover from an aerobic training session, or from a really hard, gnarly like deadlift session or something like that. It might take you 48 hours to recover properly from that.
Yeah.
And if you then go and do high intensity training in that time, while you're still recovering, then you're going to inhibit the recovery from the deadlift session, and then that second session won't be as at a high enough intensity to get the training effects that you want.
Yeah, because you're already sort of on the
yeah.
back foot a little bit, but not really.
Now I just want to remind everyone, I'm not saying don't do intense training.
No, we're talking about building a foundation.
Build a foundation, and then the intense training can be really intense and really focused and really, aggressive. But it needs to be on a foundation.
Yeah, for sure. So we talked a little bit then about, I always get these two mixed up, dude. Did we do anaerobic first?
Oh, so aerobic is the low level, and then the anaerobic goes on top of it. So maybe your downhill race run, your legs are burning, you're doing sprints, it's more anaerobic,
Yep.
Okay. So that stuff comes, you can start doing a bit of that this time of year.
Okay.
Just to challenge yourself, keep it interesting, but it should be a small part of what you're doing, in my opinion at least.
Right.
And what you've got to think about is, what does my sport require? Okay, and it's that repeat sprint for downhill really. For the enduro guys, it's a bit different. You're working a bit more around like lactate threshold maybe, especially if there's like a long climb, or if the transitions are tight and you're at altitude and things, it's pretty full on. Again, with motocross as well, like really high heart rate for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, motocross is a strange one because a lot of them, especially some of the pros, will set into a sort of a pace which is relatively sustainable, but then those last few laps will probably ramp up again. Yeah. And your first bit's intense as well. Your first few laps, just
that
get
track
your position. Yeah, get your position, and then it'll usually seems to settle down a little bit during mid-moto, and then it'll crank up again at the end. So
exactly.
Totally different to any other mountain bike sport, really. Probably I'm trying to think where you do that.
Yeah, mate, it's probably more similar to like a short. What do they do? What's it called? XC. There's XCC and XCO at the cross country. Okay. The one on the Friday night, the short track that's 20 minutes, half hour. Yeah, it's probably a bit more similar to that, really.
Get out of the gate, get going.
I've not seen like the data for those cross country jobs, but I imagine it's not far out. So you've got to think. The closer you get to the event, the more event specific your training should be. The more the training should resemble the event, and so you may go to the point where you look at the track, the World Cup track, and I've got 3 weeks before that World Cup, and you look at some GoPros, and there's 4 sprints on it, and then at Cairns, for instance, where World Champs was, I think the sprint at the end. So I was working with Charlie Hatton at the time. The sprint at the end was, I think, 16 seconds or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, something like that. And so we're like, right, Charlie.
We're going to do loads of work, and then you're going to sprint at the end.
Yeah, we're going to do some meaning like 16 seconds. If Mick Hanna can do it and that, then, he's a big old boy, isn't he? Quite a lot older. And so we did some work there.
Okay.
So...
That's a good way of looking at it as well. Like trying to figure out what sort of the courses are going to be.
But you don't need to do that now.
No.
As you become more specific and more like the event as you approach the event.
That's a really good tip. Something that probably a lot of people do overlook.
Yeah,
it must be hard as well though when you're racing week in, week out.
Yeah, well there's the thing, isn't it? So, and that's where week in, week out, there's very limited opportunity to train in the week because you're travelling and energy and recovery and all the admin that goes with it. So you're just trying to maintain some fitness and turn up at the next race feeling good mentally and physically and emotionally. So I mean, it's just about gradually ramping it up over time and making sure the work you do is of a really high quality.
Right.
Where you are fully committed to doing that session. You know what you're trying to achieve, and you're going to go out and you're going to do it because you're hydrated, you've had a good meal beforehand, and you then go out and you do it, and you then come back and you recover, and then you reap the rewards.
How important do you think it is to keep like a log of what you're doing?
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, ideally, everyone should keep a training diary, either in a notebook or there's loads of apps and stuff. I use an online app called Training Peaks, which lots of people have heard of. You can use it for all sorts of sports. You can get a free account, and it can, like, your Garmin or whatever can upload to it, and things like that. And it's got a lot of the stuff Strava's got, but a bit more sports sciencey.
Right.
But you don't have to know loads. You can use it at
give you like
an entry level.
like,
Entry level. Anyone can just get on it and get going with a free account, and that's really useful.
Yeah.
And then it's just helpful as well to keep track of what you've done. And so when you're feeling a lack of motivation or thinking, I'm doing this, Ben's made me do all these bloody base miles, and I'm not sure if I'm getting fitter. And then you look and you've done the same loop maybe 6 weeks ago and today, and you've either done it at the same heart rate but several minutes quicker. That shows your fitness has improved. Or you're doing the same time but your heart rate's lower, so actually you need to start doing it faster.
Got you.
Yeah. Because that's what we're trying to get, is that economy where it's fuel economy. So you need to be able to do more work with less effort, and that's really important for enduro, because if you find the transitions and the climb's hard, then you can't go hard on the downs on the stages. No, ideally you want to be climbing, just chatting away at like 120 beats per minute. Ideally, now it's not always possible, but that's where you want to be. Not climbing at 150 beats per minute, legs burning, can't talk, rinsing through your calories, your muscle glycogen, and all that sort of thing. I think, and then you're not recovered for the next stage.
I think it's probably hard for a lot of people out there to replicate that as well. Do you think, or not? Would you advise like a training mask, for example, one of those? No. God, the look you just gave me.
Let's just say no and move on from that.
Right, okay.
There are like one or two like really random little times when that could be useful, but no.
I'm just thinking of ways that it's hard to replicate especially if you're listening and you live in the UK.
Altitude.
Yeah.
So
it's really difficult to.
Can you replicate it? No. Can you prepare for it? Yes.
Okay.
So you can replicate. You can spend a lot of money and go in a Bath University.
Is it hyperbaric? No, hyperbaric's not. Can't remember.
Let's just call it a climate chamber.
Let's do it.
And they can make it snow in there as well, I think, probably. So you can really have a bad day. But an altitude chamber, let's call it. And you can go, somewhere like that, or Loughborough's probably got one and all of that. But most people can't afford that. I've never used one.
I'm sure it's hyperbaric.
Hyper and hypo, and then baric would be pressure. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. So
claim it.
Go in there, some deep sea divers or something with your turbo trainer. Where were we? What was the question? Yeah, but there are ways that you can prepare for going to altitude. Number one, sorry guys, broken record, but improved aerobic fitness. Sorry, but it's going to help.
There's an underlying theme here, isn't there?
Yeah, I know. Anyone would think it's actually quite useful. I don't know. Maybe I should do a podcast about it. But and then you can also do some breathing exercises beforehand, which is something I'm currently on my journey about learning more about and improving my understanding.
Brilliant.
So I won't go into the specifics there because I don't want to mess it up, if I'm honest. I've got a good foundation of knowledge on it, and I'm just this winter's going to start getting applied with my guys.
I love that shit.
Yeah, me too.
Again,
me too.
I'm on the fringe of understanding it.
Yeah.
In fact, no, I'm not even on the fringe. I'm way off the fringe. But
but you can
enjoy
be.
it. We spoke about that again on the podcast.
Yeah,
about
your
cold showers.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
it's cool.
And
if you're into it and it's interesting and it's another way to motivate you, it's another way to keep consistent, then absolutely.
Definitely.
And the time thing comes back. If anyone tells me they don't have time for 10 minutes of breathing exercises, then
This shouldn't be here.
Just get out,
They
my,
probably
get out
should
my
be
gym.
dead.
Get out my gym and get off my inbox. You know, because stop wasting my time and energy. Because you do have time,
Yeah.
you just haven't made it a priority,
Yeah.
and that's the difference. Time and priorities are very different.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very few people don't have time to train. Very few. It's just, are you willing to make training a priority? And if you're not, then that's fine. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but don't expect to be really fit or strong. Simple.
Yeah.
So yeah, you want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but did back in the day.
Jeez.
But I'm not. I'm not willing to inject steroids,
gonna
and I'm
say,
not willing to train 6
he did
hours
all
a
the
day.
Deca.
Yeah. But so that's fine. I'm not willing to do that, so I'm not going to look like him. Simple, you know.
Arnie back in the day, dude.
Yeah,
Jeez.
what a boy.
Unbelievable
What a
that,
boy.
wasn't it? You seen that new documentary about the vegan Game Changers one?
Haven't seen it yet.
Heard probably a lot about it in your field of work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
I watched
not
it
go
the other
there.
night. I watched it the other night with the missus.
I
Let's
acc-
not go there.
Yeah, I accidentally put a thing on about veganism on my Facebook the other day and it
Oh, wow.
exploded. And in the end, I just turned off the comments. I thought, I can't be bothered with this. So let's move on. Let's move on.
So we're talking again about building this foundation. So we've covered the anaerobic, and
Aerobic,
anaerobic
Yeah.
training. What else?
So
makes a good
I guess the next bit
foundation?
is probably more familiar to people. And for me, it's about movement and mobility, which is going to put their body in a really good place to do the heavier work that's going to be required to actually get stronger.
Yeah.
Because that's what most people need to do is get stronger. Because once you're stronger, you can get more powerful. When you're more powerful, you can pedal harder, pump harder, hold on to your motocross bike. And so I want an athlete or Dawn from accounts or whatever to squat. But, you know, athlete's been travelling loads this summer. He's just had a little off season. Maybe he's a little bit banged up because he's fallen off his bike. And Dawn from accounts just spends too long sitting down and stuff like that. So they both got their own needs, but it's kind of the same as well because they're both humans and they both need to be able to squat better.
Yeah.
And so this time of year, I use what I call like foundation training, where it's predominantly body weight.
Okay.
Everything's really slowed down, you know. So 3-second lowers maybe with a pause in the bottom of the squat, so you can feel what your body's doing, you can experience what it's doing, and spending time in those positions helps to improve your strength in those positions. So you can then next month or whatever add some weight and perform better in that position. So it's safe. So you can lift more, so you can get stronger, so you can perform better at the end. And that's what this is about. It's not me just like mucking about, fanning about with people. Oh, let's just do this because Ben's into it.
Yeah.
It's because at the end of the day, I want them to perform better in their sport in the spring.
Got you. Yeah.
And so we can do that. So you work, it's like anything, you work it back. How do they perform better? Well, for most of them, being more powerful and stronger athletes and more robust athletes is going to help them to perform better across the whole season. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to lift some heavy stuff, we're going to lift some light stuff fast, we're going to do some jumping and plyometric work. Okay, how do we do that? Well, actually, if we're going to do that, then they need to be robust. So we're going to maybe do some work in different directions in body weight, do some barefoot work so their feet and ankles and knees are strong and their hips are strong. We're going to do some fiddly little Pilates things to make sure that they're using their bum, their glutes, and not just their lower back.
Yeah.
We're going to work on improving their positions so that when I put a bar on their back, if we do that, then they can squat safely, confidently, and we can just get straight to it and just start pumping some iron and bagging some gains, you know, because that's what I'm into, you know, that's what I love. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I love it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, that's something that I'm really doubling down on now. We'll try and put maybe a few things in the show notes as well. Maybe examples of sort of
for sure.
stretching routines and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've got some videos. And
that's something that I struggle with. It's just it's like I know I want to do that, but how do I do it?
Yeah.
If that makes sense?
Yeah.
Obviously without having a personal coach or anything like that.
Yeah, and people always, I know. If you really don't have a clue, then it's hard, But something's better than nothing.
Yeah.
As I always say.
Just basic stretching. Or...
Yeah, let's just find a basic like body weight training thing or something like that, and right, how can I learn to squat off a YouTube video or
so
off
much,
a friend
so
and stuff?
much dynamics goes into a squat that
Yeah, I know it
just,
is tricky, and
you
and I don't
have no clue.
I
most
think
people.
like learning to I don't think you can learn to Olympic lift off a video.
No,
no way.
No,
You can learn to squat to a point. At some point, you might need some help. Some people are just very good movers and don't do it like that. And everyone's different, aren't they? But
definitely, yeah. But again, that's something that I'm on my personal every night. Is trying to move and roll. I love the foam roller, man. I love that thing.
Masochist.
Oh, I love it. I love the foam roller.
Yeah.
Rather than just sitting and watching TV, though, sit and watch TV, but be stretching.
Yeah.
Just like you say, that's time as well, isn't it?
You're on the rug with the cat. You're doing some rolling.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's nice.
Why not?
Happy days.
So we've got aerobic, anaerobic.
And then, I guess movement and mobility, really.
Mobility.
Yeah, and that, for me then, and then the next step of that foundation is start getting strong.
Mm-hmm. And when do you start introducing that? You said around December sort of time?
Yeah, so probably, November, December.
Right.
Something like that.
Okay.
I generally would do just a pure, what I'd call a foundation program for about a month.
Because people talk about winter gains, don't they?
Yeah. The winter's perfect time for gains. And you know what? In mountain biking, they are spoiled. The race season is short. The off season is really long. And if you don't turn up fit in April, it's only your fault.
Yeah.
Because not many sports, look at Premiership football, they've got 6 weeks off in the summer. Motocross, outdoors, indoors.
Yeah, dude,
you got 2 weeks off.
Craziest schedule in the world, I think.
Yeah, and it's just not healthy, is it?
Week after week.
It's bad.
With not even 2 months.
Different time zones and flying and driving.
That's the gnarliest schedule, I think.
Yeah, and
one of
the gnarliest sport, really.
Yeah.
It's just,
It is. It is gnarly. Like, it is the gnarliest sport, dude. Like you say, don't even think about the travel and then switching from discipline from moto to supercross.
Yeah, and the injuries are savage.
Yeah.
I was gutted. Right, one of my motocross racers, a real good lad from Bristol called Ben Franklin. Mm-hmm. He came second this year in the Bridgestone British Masters. I get muddled up with all the series. There's so many of them. Second overall in the 250 class, so he's killing it. Yeah, and he's had a really consistent year, racing hard, and then practicing on a Wednesday before the last race of the season, falls off and fracture dislocates his wrist, and his wrist doesn't go back in, and it's surgery and all of this.
Man.
And, minging.
Yeah, it is.
Metal work, and now it's right, well, that's what we're doing now. He's probably be back in the gym next week, and what we're going to have to do, build a foundation. We'll get some aerobic work done, but we can't go too much because we don't want too sweaty because of his wound care and his cast.
Right.
So we were a little limited there. And then, we need to keep him strong, get him strong. So I know a lot of people don't like it, but I don't care. I'm going to bang him on the leg press.
Really? Yeah. Not that sweaty. Just bang him reps out.
I don't need motocross riders or mountain bikers to be good at squats. I need them to have strong legs. And ideally, they're going to squat. Can he squat at the moment? Can he put a bar on his back? Can he hold a kettlebell? No. Do I have several thousand pounds of belt squat machine? No, I don't. Do I have a leg press? Yes, I do. Okay, cool. Let's do leg press then. Even though to the purists out there, the haters, every time I put a leg press on my social media, I get comments. Yeah.
Why?
Oh, it's not functional, man.
Oh,
you should be squatting and all of this. It's well, yeah. I've answered it a million times, man. My job is to get him strong. I'm going to do that on the leg press because he's got a broken arm or collarbone or whatever, or someone comes in, I've tweaked my back a little bit.
It must be one of the most hardest jobs you've got because people probably always think they know better and they always have read something online or...
Everyone's an expert in 2019,
you're constantly going over the same questions with people. It must be really hard.
Yeah, it's one of those. I mean, on the whole, everyone's really positive on my social media.
I feel like
because you wouldn't follow me if you
not at all.
Didn't.
No, but I feel like there has been a real increase in people who are now a personal trainer on wanting to get in. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
You know, marketing myself as a PT or a
Yeah,
coach.
yeah, yeah.
Or
Yeah, there's
whatever.
loads of people knocking
Yeah.
about now. And you know what? I'm sure loads of them do an amazing job. And
Yeah, not saying they're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Just, it must be a bit
But
strange.
yeah, some will, some won't. It's like anything. And, you know, I'm learning all the time, mate.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
sounds like it because you're doing your course on breathing.
Yeah, and I was
think-
just on a course a couple of weeks ago for something called velocity-based training, which is really interesting, a bit geeky, where you put a sensor on the bar and it measures how quick the barbell moves. So in a squat or a deadlift, or you can put it on your body as well. And so then you can measure gains in strength and power at certain weights, and it helps you to understand an athlete and helps you to select the correct weights for them to use and stuff like that.
That's cool.
So I just did that course recently, and then now I'm doing some practice on myself as a guinea pig, and then I'm going to start using that with my top guys in November.
Are you ever like really unmotivated to work out because you're always doing it yourself?
For my own training,
Yeah.
the odd days, yes. Sometimes you're like, oh, you know, you're tired or whatever, and I've been in the, you know, you're going to be in the gym from 7 till 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
But on the whole, you know, I do this because I'm into it, you know.
Yeah.
So I do like training.
I was just curious if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do get that.
But I'm
like,
human as well, you know. And you know, at the moment, I haven't really trained much through October.
okay.
You maybe can hear I'm at the end of a lurgy. I never used
Who
to
isn't?
get.
This
I
time
know.
of year.
I never used to get lurgies until I had a baby.
Really?
Now she's 2 and a bit and constantly snotty from nursery.
Picking bits
so
up.
she gave me a lurgy. So yeah, so I didn't train for a couple of weeks there.
Okay.
Yeah. But then it's funny because if I'm honest, you know, I'll say keep a training diary and all that, and I don't practice what I preach. You know, I don't mind admitting.
But as long as your
because
students are, then
yeah, exactly. Because, and I never write myself a program. I just do what I feel like doing on the day. Because I write enough programs. And maybe, you know, I'll be honest. What I'd really like to do is to be in a financial position in the next year or two where I can actually pay a coach or trainer to train me.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And I
Buy a
think
mirror.
there's I think I get thrown out of the gym for talking to myself. But I think, you know, what better way to learn, you know? There's a couple of really good guys, operators around Bristol, if not slightly further afield, who I would gladly give my money to maybe expose things about myself and my training that I don't know. You're then not going to like jack on yourself and not work hard.
It's like even the best athletes in the world still have a riding coach.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Just because you know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, and I just think it would be nice to not have to think about what I'm doing that day.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I like it's a little thing. I've got a little list of things because I'll turn 40 next year. So I start thinking, you know, I know. I just did my last ever mountain bike racing Masters on the weekend.
Jeez.
Yeah, crashed my brains out. So I need to grow up a bit.
Go out as you mean to.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like I've been hit by a bus today.
Really?
But it's all good. It's all good. Yeah,
40.
so
You don't look it, mate. It's, you know.
I'll try.
You don't look it.
Low stress
40.
lifestyle, lots of sleep.
I think we should have ticked off all these things we sort of prescribed to do when we all turned 30, my friends and I. So we did like
the bucket list thing.
Yeah, the bucket list thing. I think by the time I'm 40, we should have got that done, I reckon. It's taken a lot longer than we anticipated.
Happy days, yeah. Life gets in the way, doesn't it?
It does, mate.
But it's all good. Like, and I've got lots going on, but it's about life is good. I'm lucky. I've got a great family and everything, which is growing. Actually, I've got my wife's pregnant, so we have a second baby in February. Yeah, I've got a little boy en route.
Congratulations,
so,
that's cool.
Yeah, Daisy's gonna have a little brother, which we're really excited about.
Yeah.
One of each is what we wanted, and we got really lucky.
Wow.
So So
and business in general, how is it being a PT like right now? Good? Bad? Because we talked about this a little bit.
2019 has been a tricky year. Like from this time last year, basically, ups and downs. Like I don't mind admitting, I lost a couple of people that I really loved coaching for different reasons. Hopefully not because I'm a bad coach or a dick or anything. But, you know, these things happen.
Yes,
and
of course.
Yeah. and it hurts a bit on a personal and professional level.
Yeah.
But then there's been some really good things as well, like the motocross of Ben had best season until like the last week. And I had lots of time this summer to spend with my family. So
Good.
ups and downs. I'm not, it's hard to, I think at the end of the year I need to have a little sit down, do a little audit.
That's good though. I think you've got to be
figure out
really honest about
what.
these things. It's like we spoke about it before and you said, oh, how's Hook It? And I was like, it's all right.
Yeah.
Could be better. But I think if you're running a business and you're relatively entrepreneurial, it can always be better.
Yeah,
but then sometimes you have to take a
Yeah.
step back and go, it could be a hell of a lot worse at the same time.
Yeah, I've got big ambitions.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
There's things I want to achieve.
Yeah.
There's things that I would like my athletes to achieve, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So who are you working with right now that people
On the motocross side, I guess the biggest name, although he's not racing at the moment, is Jordan Booker.
Oh yeah.
Who's bonkers. He's cool though. And then Enduro, I'm working with Chris Hutchins on Wide Open Nuke Proof. Yeah. He's had a real good year. He had a couple domestically, and then Fergus Ryan, who rides for MTV Beds and Santa Cruz UK at the World Series. He had a couple of bangers. He went really well at Madeira, EWS, and had some really good stage results and stuff. Don't have a big name downhiller at the moment.
Right.
At the World Cup, so I work with Morgan Tyrrell in junior, who is an amazing rider. Qualified at Fort William World Cup and got top 20 there. That's good.
Sweet.
I guess actually, I've just booked her in for next week. I haven't seen her in ages, to be fair. Vero Sandler.
Oh, you're working with Vero?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
yeah. I've been working with Vero for a long time.
So
it's just that suddenly, number one, she lives in North Wales now, and she's basically always on some ridiculous trip filming. And so I haven't seen Vero in ages. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her.
Yeah.
But it's different now because really before we were trying to get her ready for downhill racing, and World Cup. That was the main goal. And we had her on the watt bike and all that, and it was wicked. And Vero is an absolute beast in the gym. Yeah, anyone I would train her with, especially dudes would come in. She's not so tall. Yeah. She just crushed them.
Really?
Yeah, people would be like crawling out. So they didn't want to look weak in front of her, And I used to love it because she's an absolute animal in the gym.
Amazing.
And obviously an amazing athlete on the bike as well. You don't want to be one like the other.
And now she's gone towards.
And now she's free rider, just ambassador. I'm not sure, whatever it is. I think it doesn't matter how you call it, but basically, she's worked so hard. And she deserves everything she's got right now. Because, I mean, she won't mind me saying, but when I was first training her, and she was getting up in the morning to do a morning shift, making falafel from 4 a.m. in the morning till like 9, 10 in the morning, come straight from there to the gym to train, to super so committed, all in, like doing whatever needed to be done. And it's about that priorities thing I said earlier. Whatever needed to happen so she could then ride her bike. Because if she got a daytime job, she wouldn't be able to ride her bike, she wouldn't be able to train.
We spoke about it a little bit on the podcast because she came and she did a podcast a few episodes ago. And she was saying the same thing, that she always looked for a job which was like weird hours so she could ride the bike
exactly.
all day.
And who wants to be bloody making falafel
at
4 in the morning on a rainy Wednesday in December? Well, no one does really, let's be honest. No, but it enabled the rest, and now look where she is, and I'm stoked for her.
Amazing.
So she's coming in next week or the week after. I've just booked her in, which is cool, and we're going to spend like a good few hours together. Make sure she's all in one piece because she's just been out in Utah.
So you can do that as well then. So you could, let's say an athlete comes to you tomorrow that's had a really hard season. You could go almost do an MOT. Yeah,
that's exactly what we're doing. Amazing. Yeah, so a real good chat. MOT, are there any injuries, are there any niggles, have you fallen off your bike? Let's have a look at how you're moving at the moment. Historically, her mobility is like always just really good.
Right.
That will almost certainly be fine. Let's see how strong you are at the moment, and then let's have a talk about what you're working towards, what you want to achieve. I don't lead it.
Yeah.
She leads it. What projects have you got coming up? Are you trying to? She's just learned to backflip. you know,
Yeah, okay,
and stuff like that. Well, I don't know, maybe there's different things that we can do that's different to preparing an outright race. So I've got to treat her a bit differently, more like a freestyle skier or someone. And so I'm going to give her, because I'm probably not going to see her now until next year. And so I can put together a program, think of it as a menu. So, right, here's 6 or 8 different sessions, Vero. There's, Vero's feeling really tired and banged up, like a recovery session, so you feel better at the end of it than at the start. And here's a couple of, right, I feel pretty good. I've got a bit of time to recover and I want to hit the gym and I want to lift up heavy shit. There's a couple of sessions to do that. And here's, and on the road, I've got no kit apart from maybe a rubber band or something, and I've got a bit of floor space, so we do some movement, maybe some animal flows and things, or some tumbling, like some, you know, sounds crazy, but what's going to keep an athlete like Vero earning a living for a long time is not getting hurt. So maybe we do some like tumbling and things like that, and build that into a program, and it builds robustness and awareness and things like that. And so I'm just going to put together a menu of sessions for her.
Okay.
Basically,
that's
the plan.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying, oh, you've got to do this, that, and that. I will suggest to her that if she's got a bit of time in North Wales, and you know she's maybe not feeling as fit because she hasn't been pedalling much, then I'm going to suggest maybe a little aerobic work. Dare I say it? I might have to get her to listen to this first. She'll be like, "What, mate?" But so I'm really looking forward to seeing her and catching up.
Good.
Yeah, it's cool.
So. And it's nice to hear as well that someone can come to you and just get an MOT and just...
it is what it is.
That's
cool.
cool.
I'd love to see all my athletes like 2 or 3 times a week and just do everything with them the whole time, but that's not it, is it?
No.
You know, and the better they get, the less I'm going to see them.
Yeah,
because they've got more commitments and they travel more.
That's true.
Things like that. Like the good racers, like the top racers, I don't see them much in the summer at all.
Right, you just program them up.
Yeah, program them up, and then it's
stuff.
just a conversation. Yeah. There's a plan A on their training peaks, which they can access on their phone, wherever they are in the world.
Right.
That's plan A, but then that normally changes. You know, then after the race on the Sunday night or on the Monday, I try and catch them from wherever they are. Yeah. Let's have a quick chat. How are you feeling? How's energy? Right, this is, how do you feel about the plan this week? Oh, I feel pretty good. We'll stick to plan A. Happy days. Or, you know what? I'm absolutely nailed, or I've got a dead leg because I've crashed into a tree. Oh, okay, cool. Well, how about instead of doing that little sprint workout on Wednesday, how about you try and find a local swimming pool and go and do some like basic hydrotherapy and you know, go and squat and lunge around the pool like a lunatic until your leg feels better. You know, or if you can't afford that because you're privateer, then you can get yourself in the mountain stream and man up.
Yeah, get in there.
full Wim Hof.
Get in there, mate.
As approved by Hook It.
Exactly, as approved by me, mate, for sure. Apart from once where I went a little bit too deep and stayed in there a little bit too long.
Mate, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude.
Anyway, what else then? Is there anything else we've overlooked with regards to building the foundation, do you think?
I think that if I go on any more, people are just going to be like, okay, Ben, we get the idea. So yeah, but that is, all I'll say is that, you know, the science and the reality is that is what you need to do.
Okay.
Whether you like it or not, I don't care. The science doesn't care. Your body's physiology doesn't care if you want to do that work or not.
Yeah.
If you want to improve, that's what you need to do.
Okay.
Simples.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right. Should we cover a few of these listener questions?
Yeah, man.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Do you want me to read them out?
Yeah, I've made some.
You've made some notes, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. Can you read? If I did it in Ben's shorthand.
Yeah, you probably.
So probably not. Probably not. Then it's just me talking for ages. Oh, I don't know. So, should we read out Jamie's one or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He'll be listening.
So Jamie Edwards here, wide open head honcho. Who would win in a fight? 100 hamster-sized Bens or one Ben-sized hamster?
It's a great question.
I'm going to put that to you.
Who do I
Who
think?
would win 100 hamster-sized Davies or one Davy-sized hamster?
I think 100 of anything.
100 anything.
It's like a swarm,
Overwhelming
isn't it? Yeah,
swarm.
overwhelming swarm. Gets it, in between your little
Good
niggly
teamwork.
gigglies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Happy
yeah, I would
days.
say
I'm with you there, mate. I'm with you.
100 hamsters or whatever it was.
No worries. Right.
Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, then we've got Chris Z Psych, CYC Psych, on Instagram. Which body parts should I train for mountain biking, and should I train all year round? So,
Good question.
yeah, which body parts?
Ears.
Annoying answer.
Start with your ears.
Annoying answer is your whole body, really.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. So what I like to do is let's look at your position on the bike, and basically you're in a what I'd call a hinged position. Legs pretty straight, hips maybe back slightly, back flat, elbows out. That's your. Some people call it attack position. I
Yeah.
call it flow position.
Yeah.
And so then start working around there. How can I get strong in that position? Well, body parts, your hamstring and your bum are kind of what's holding you up there, as well as your core and lower back. And then obviously you've got that elbows out, upper body. So your upper back needs to be strong, chest and arms. So that's kind of the foundation. Really is build that position.
Right. Yeah.
Make yourself
Yeah.
indestructible in that position.
Yeah.
And
Do you ever do much like stress hold stuff?
what,
When I say
trying to get information out of people.
No.
Those days are gone, mate.
As in stress positions.
Well,
So getting into
isometric
a tight
holds,
position
you mean?
and just hold it.
So what I would call that is isometric holds.
Right,
Is the
okay.
proper
What
word,
did I
but
call it?
Stress positions,
That's
which is like enhanced interrogation, borderline stroke torture.
Do you ever do
Yeah.
waterboarding in your gym?
I want people to come and see me, mate. All right, so we'll talk about that afterwards. Isometric holds,
Yeah.
where you hold a position, are something I absolutely do,
Okay.
and it's something I do at this time of year in particular, because I do it this time of year and in the winter more because it's fatiguing and it can make you quite sore. So it's better to do it now away from racing and riding and high intensity bike work. So yeah, you can do like a Romanian deadlift,
Cool.
which is an exercise I use quite a lot because it builds that riding position.
Yeah.
But you can add a pause in, a 2-second pause at the bottom of each rep. And in that 2-second pause, you're bang on in that bike position,
Right.
pretty much.
Right.
Except your arms are straight,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
your feet are
Yeah.
square. But you could do an RDL with a split stance. It's more advanced.
Okay.
Some would say more specific. But,
Okay.
who cares?
Yeah.
Which way you do it. But yeah, that sort of thing, yes.
Good. Good advice.
All year round, yes, but it needs to change throughout the year. So as I said, foundation, strength and power overlap, one could be at the same time. But then it depends. If you ride the same amount all year round, it doesn't change, you don't really have seasons, then the strength doesn't need to change so much all year.
Yeah.
If you ride way more or race all summer, then you need to really back off to a maintenance dose during the summer months.
Yeah.
So you lose as little as possible. You're probably not going to gain much, and you do just enough to stay strong and powerful, but still turn up to races feeling strong, fresh, fit, and emotionally and mentally like
On it.
sharp,
Yeah.
ready to rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Good advice.
I
What
try.
What else do you get?
Adventures by Cole. He's stoked for this one. Happy days.
Yay! Cheers, Cole.
Cole is running a full body routine 3 times a week to let us know. Is it detrimental to squat and deadlift on the same day?
Ooh.
So,
Another good question.
it is a great question. So, it depends, is the honest answer. I would suggest that in Cole's example, if you're doing 3 times a week, then there's no need to.
Right.
Because you've got enough training opportunities to tick those off on different days. And on the whole, if we're talking about pure strength, i.e. picking up really heavy stuff for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reps, then separating them is going to be better because you've only got so much energy to commit to that sort of training.
I guess the old school bodybuilding thing was separating your body parts as well.
Yeah.
Is that still?
Yeah. I mean That's for bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're not worried about that. But a different way of thinking about it is with squats and deadlifts is that they're different movements. Yeah. So the deadlift, as I just mentioned, is a hinging motion. You hinge at the hips with a lot less knee bend. Yeah. Whereas a squat is a lot more knee dominant and less hinge. Yeah. So they're different movements. And so in a lot of my sessions, I'm going to split those two. So there'll be a hinge dominant day and a squat dominant day. And that just works because they're slightly different muscle groups. So the squat generally is a bit heavier on your quads, and the hinging deadlifting exercise generally, more hamstring.
Is there a better squat for mountain biking in regards to like a front squat or a back squat?
Yeah. So the first thing I'd say is the best squat for you is the one that you can get in a correct and safe position for. That is the first thing. So it's all very well saying, in an ideal world, I guess everyone would front squat with a barbell because that's probably going to have the most carryover to sport and getting the muscle activation and developing the strength we want. However, the reality is not many people who come and see me can do that.
Right.
So because the mobility demands to get in that position are really hard. Have you broken your wrist? Have you broken your collarbone? Have you dislocated a shoulder before? Tick, tick,
And that's
tick.
because you're
Yeah. And before you know it, you can't get in a very good front squat position.
Interesting. Yeah.
Do you spend too long seated at work and your thoracic spine, which is your upper back, is too stiff and rounded forwards, your posture? Well, it's not going to be right for you. It's not going to be safe for you. So maybe you're better with a back squat, or even better with a kettlebell goblet squat.
Right, yeah.
Or maybe we can do a safety bar squat. Or, there's
yeah.
so many different ways we can do it.
Yeah.
It'd be great if everyone could come in and just rack up a massive, great big barbell front squat, but it ain't gonna happen.
No.
It ain't gonna happen. So the best squat is one you can do safely.
Okay.
And still get enough load through it.
Yeah.
Is what I would say.
Okay. Good advice.
And then he asks an ideal rep range for enduro. So by rep range, he means how many reps to do in a set, basically. So it all depends. It's going to change through the year, and it depends what you're trying to achieve. So as part of the foundation and going into the strength bit, I might do some higher rep work. Maybe.
What's the higher rep range?
Higher rep might be 8 plus.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's high reps for me.
Yeah.
8 to 15. I don't often go over 15.
Really?
But maybe in conditioning.
In that, okay, that's in a set.
In a
So
single set. Yeah. So three lots. Yeah. So
lots of
three
that.
sets of 10 or something would be, to me, higher reps, where off the back of that, the adaptation you're going to get is going to be more of a hypertrophy, so muscle building, basically.
Yeah.
You're going to get some strength in there and some improvement in endurance as well, but that's that. Whereas lower reps, like 1 to 5, is where you develop strength and power, and then sort of 15 plus is more endurance, basically. And obviously, the lower the reps, the higher the weight, and vice versa. Usually. So it all depends what you're trying to work on.
Yeah.
So the outcome determines the method you use. Is the method, what do you need? Do you need more strength? Well, the rep range needs to be 5 or less. Simple.
Okay.
Do you need to? Are you a young downhiller who wants to pack on a bit of muscle to feel a bit more protected? You're a bit skinny or whatever.
Get the girls. Get girls.
And also women as well. Absolutely. Then. Or maybe you're new
pulling
to...
girls. I mean, like get...
Oh, yeah, for pulling girls. Just for filling out T-shirts. Yeah, then absolutely. Then, 8 to 12 is where it's at. Failure on the last set, crack on.
That's what people are asking, really.
Yeah.
They word it like they're asking about training, but really it's like...
Really, Cole wants to do some bike part laps wearing a beater. Exactly. And he wants to look hench on the ground.
We saw straight through you, Cole.
Yeah. Happy day. So I hope that helps, mate. I hope that helps. DK Sprung. Oh, you found this one, mate. Any books on strength and conditioning that I can recommend?
Oh,
yeah.
Good question.
Books.
Not
online. Crazy. Old school.
Old
I
school,
like
mate.
it. I love a book.
Written with a quill.
Yes. So it kind of depends who you are and where you're coming from. If you are Joe Public and you want something really easy to digest that's just going to give you all the fundamentals just to get going, then a great one is the S&C Bible, Strength and Conditioning Bible by Nick Grantham.
Right.
Nick Grantham, by chance, although he does loads of different stuff, he also has been working with the Athertons a couple of years.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Which is entirely irrelevant to that book, but it's just nice to know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's a great book, more aimed at the public rather than coaches.
Right.
In my opinion, but great. It's cool.
Link to that.
Yeah, I'll bang some links. I'll send them to you, mate.
Okay.
We've then got a couple of different ones that are going a bit more in depth, a little more science, and a little bit more towards the realms of, you know, what a coach might read. New Functional Training for Sports by Mike Boyle is a good one. And then an absolute classic, Starting Strength by Mark Ripto, who, if you Google on YouTube, is also hilarious and bonkers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Ripto is an absolute American lunatic.
Awesome.
And yeah, one day I would love to go on one of his courses because he'll be...
He's still around.
He's still doing his thing. Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rad.
I think
okay.
so.
So there's three good ones
three good books there. What I would suggest is not getting your training knowledge from Instagram.
Unless it's your feed.
Unless it's mine, of course. Subscribe. Like me. It's like or your Ollie Wilkins intro. Just like me, please. So there's three options there.
Perfect. It's good. I personally don't have any recommendations. Although I've just read.
Yeah, do you go online?
Aubrey Marcus, Own the Day, Own Your Life.
Okay.
Top tip. Good book. Yeah, really good. Not so much about strength and conditioning, more about just certain things that makes you have a good day. So morning routines, does talk a bit about cold.
Yeah.
Saunas. It's just diet, everything's in there. I think I'd recommend that to anybody who just wants to feel better and live a healthier lifestyle. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm all for that sort of thing. That it's kind of cool now that actually we can talk. You know, a couple of men in a room together. We could talk about self-help books.
Dude, for sure. That's pretty much what it is.
And that's what it is. Because if you'd said that to like Army Ben in the mid-2000s, I'd be like, what? Self-help book? You pussy. And I would have been like, I'm never reading one of those. And now I love all that stuff.
Really? Cool.
Yeah, I'm well into it.
Good. Same. I think that's a really good one. If you've not read it, for sure get that.
Happy days.
Yeah, cool.
In the show notes.
What else we got?
And then we got Ryan Shaw. Best exercise for knee strength. They click like mad. Okay.
Whose knees don't click?
Yeah, I know.
Find me someone whose knees don't click. I think anyone who's done anything ever, the knees. It's not. Is it anything to be worried about?
There's a scale of clicking, I'd say.
Right.
So, does it hurt? Does it feel weird? If the answer is yes, don't worry about strength. Go and get a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Go and see a physio is what I would do. If it's just always been like that and it doesn't hurt, doesn't feel weird, doesn't stop you doing anything, then absolutely, work the muscles around the knee, because you can't strengthen your knee, it's a joint. But I know what he means, obviously.
Yeah.
Strengthen the muscles around it to make the knee more stable. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, we've got obviously the obvious ones like squats and things are going to strengthen the quads and help keep that knee in place.
Yeah.
Don't neglect the back of the leg though, the hamstring and the calf.
Right.
So we can do lunges, we could do RDL, we could do calf raises for minging and stuff like that. But I think for me the key thing for looking after knees is thinking of your leg as a whole system. Don't think of the knee in isolation. Like your knee, someone comes to me and their knee hurts, their knee's probably fine, but it's probably something with their foot and ankle or their hip.
Oh, right, yeah.
Or often.
Yeah.
I'm not a physio, but I've been doing this a while. And so, where's that coming from?
So you'll do like a mobility test almost?
You can have a look, or maybe, and it's just, you can kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
You can look at the move, and it's like, well, your knee hurts because when you squat, that knee collapses into the middle. Well, why does it do that? Is it because you've got no arch on that foot because your foot's really weak? Is it because your hip is really weak, i.e. like your glutes basically, so your bum muscles? as well as pulling your leg backwards, they pull your leg out to the side as well. So imagine you're stood up like to attention like a soldier, and you just slowly lift one leg straight out to the side, just slowly.
Okay.
That motion there, basically.
Right.
And that's called hip abduction,
Okay.
lifting your leg out to the side. And most people who ride bikes, their hip abductors are weak, because cycling is very straight line. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so
Makes
when they
sense.
become weak, you then have less control over where your knee is in space. So to look after someone's knees, I would say look after your feet and ankles. So do some bare footwork, maybe do your warm up in bare feet or socks if your gym
Fantastic.
allows it.
Yeah.
Do some calf raises in your socks and things like that. Do some multi-direction things as well. So maybe some side lunges. So working the hips and the ankles in different directions. And then do some exercises for your hip there. So like some like Jane Fonda style, where you lie on your side, if you're old enough to know that. Lie on your side and do some leg raises to the side. So I call it a side plank with leg raise.
Right.
And you should feel that in the side of your bum cheek.
Okay.
And most people are rubbish at it, and it burns. And most people can't do 10 on each side when they start.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's what I would say for that.
Brilliant. That's good, because I think a lot of people listening to this will have that issue.
Yeah.
Of having that clicky knee.
Yeah.
And just generally having knee pain. It's something
Yeah.
that I've suffered with
Yeah.
forever.
And I'd always say you don't train, like put the macho business to one side. Don't train through pain.
Yeah.
If you've got an injury, get a diagnosis off of an actual person, not off your mate or the internet.
Or Google.
Or off of me on a podcast, Get a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Find out what's going wrong.
Yeah,
Okay. And if you can afford to do it privately, then cool. All it means is it's more convenient and probably quicker. And if you can't, then that's fine. See your GP, get referred, and see an NHS physio.
Figure it out.
Who are often the same physios who are doing the private
True,
work on the
that's very
side,
true.
because they're in the NHS and they're underpaid.
Yeah.
And that's a whole other podcast. Yes.
Yes. Awesome. What else we got, bro?
2-to-1 racing. What are my guilty pleasures with my diet? So it's kind of nice that he thinks that maybe I'm that strict all the time, I guess. 2-to-1 racing. I mean, yeah, I'm human. I like all the normal stuff. I love a jam donut. I just eat a pretty, I maintain a pretty steady body weight all year.
Yeah, I remember from the last one, you're pretty balanced with everything.
Yeah,
like
I don't go
moderation,
crazy.
moderation.
I eat, just a normal balanced diet, and then on the weekend, I like a pastry, I like a donut. I guess that's probably my thing. I love a chocolate milkshake.
Mate,
But yeah.
I fucking love a chocolate milkshake.
Oh,
Don't get
I love
me going.
a choc shake. Yeah, and I don't mean that rubbish from McDonald's. I mean an actual one with actual chocolate and
Oh,
actual
really?
milkshake.
Oh, I like that rubbish from
You're
McDonald's.
like, with all the vegetable oil in all that
Oh,
nonsense.
bring it.
Oh.
Bring it.
Ugh.
Guilty pleasures.
Let's move on. Yeah, that is a guilty one. But yeah. Stuart Reed,
Yep.
what has been my career path and how did I get here? How did I mess it up so bad that I'm sat here
In Sheffield.
Yeah, in Sheffield. And it's not raining, the sun's out, wicked.
It is beautiful right now.
It's lush. I think, we did cover this a bit on the first podcast, actually, my actual story.
We did.
But in a nutshell, this isn't a job, this is just something I wanted to do. So after the army, did my personal training course, did normal, whatever that is, PT, mums and people going on holiday and all this sort of stuff, and then gradually just changed my education and started Strength Factory, and then you just make it happen basically, like all the best things in life. So
For sure. Have you ever been sort of tempted to do more of the mums and
no,
really just over it?
over it.
Cool.
It was good. I did it for quite a few years, had a boot camp and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to coach some really awesome people.
I
It's
think-
easy to think, I only want to work with action sports athletes, but actually, like all those mums in Chiswick that I used to do a boot camp for, they were rad.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They were just such good people.
And you've got
they-
such a deep blue sea of people as well. So
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
obviously really narrowed down your field,
Mm.
heavily narrowed it down, let's
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest. That's good though. I think it seems like the right decision. You're
it's
a little
good.
bit more focused
But
on.
the thing is that within that, I've almost got the same people, because I've got, people who are just like many of the listeners, and they work a 9 to 5. They've got a family, and they come and see me once a week. So it's not really much different.
Okay, yeah. I
You know,
suppose,
they're
it's not like you're only
everyone's
working
an
with pro, is it?
athlete. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I've got people who work at banks and things like that,
Yeah.
and you know, or run their own business, or they're engineers or whatever, and yeah,
But they've got
they're
this
fit, they're
hobby,
strong,
and they
but
wanna-
they're into mountain biking on
Yeah.
the weekends, and so then they come to see me.
Got
You
you.
know, so it's kind of same but different.
Yeah, I think I was looking at it different, wasn't I? I was sort
Yeah.
of thinking you only work with professional athletes. You obviously
No,
don't.
no.
It's
I don't think.
people who do things.
I think that's unlikely to happen to be possible. Well, anything's possible, isn't it? But I don't. I think I'd always keep my crew. I've got some good people.
Good.
So I'm lucky like that, which is good.
Cool.
Dan Bike Guy. Is that
Oh
it?
yeah, David.
David,
the bike
that
guy.
was my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
handwriting. David Bike Guy. Best general fitness workout. Oh, David, what are you doing to me?
Right at the end as well.
I'm just going to say it depends. The best workout is the one that gets you a bit closer to where you want to be. What are you trying to get out of this? I want to be better in my sport. So, and you're not very powerful. So,
Don't mind me.
so the best workout for you might be a power workout because you've done the strength work and you need to be more powerful. So that's it then. At this time of year, the best workout might be, going and doing some aerobic base miles because you've been thrashing yourself all summer. There's no answer, I'm afraid. But just all I'd say is treat your body as a whole. Don't do the whole bodybuilding splits.
Right.
Whole body sessions.
Yeah.
And just don't overcomplicate it. Do a main lift, like a squat or deadlift of some variety. And then a single leg exercise, maybe a step up or a lunge or split squat.
Yep.
And you want an upper body pushing exercise, push up, pressing overhead, upper body pulling exercise. A row is normally best, pulling towards yourself, but also pull-ups and chin-ups.
Yeah.
Some sort of core training, maybe some accessory work like some calf work or some hip work like we talked about earlier, the abductors.
Yeah. Mobility
And right
stuff.
there, you've got a pretty good session without. That's for free, mate. There you go. But and that's it. The whole body session ticks all the boxes. You good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There is no one workout. And if I figure it out, then I'm going to sell it.
Patent it.
Yeah. And I'll be rich. One workout.
Does it all?
Exactly. Yeah. And then an extra £5 and tag on a protein shake. Yeah, anyway.
I was just looking for some more. Sorry.
No worries, it's good. Joel Perkins, how do you fit training in around other responsibilities?
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the question, isn't it? This is a question of 2019. It's about priorities, isn't it?
Yeah.
I touched on it earlier.
Yep.
It's about figuring out what's important to you, and that ultimately determines what you prioritise in your life. At the moment, if you prioritise Netflix, that's cool. I don't care. But don't tell me you don't have time to train.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. If
at the moment you prioritise taking your kids to football on a Saturday morning, again, that's fine. You miss your mate's ride. That's life. That's going to be me in a few years.
Yeah. 100%.
And it's not right and it's not wrong. It's just what it is. So it's about prioritising some training time in your week. And that might be a conversation with your partner, or someone like that to help you do that, or your boss, flexi time, or things like that. I think
You
people
can always
got
get
a
up
lot
an hour
more-
earlier.
Yeah, a lot more room for manoeuvre these days. Yeah, do you prioritise the snooze button, or getting up half an hour earlier and adding 10k to your commute, or doing some morning yoga?
Yeah.
Or coming to the gym in the morning. 7 a.m. I'm in there every day with people, or sometimes earlier. And then it's just being smart, like lunch break. Can most people get a really good strength training session and a shower and eat lunch in a 45-minute lunch break? No, probably not, unless the gym is right there. But can you do something productive? Yes, you can. You could do some aerobic work. You could do
do a lot of squats and
shorter.
stuff.
Yeah. You could do a really
Press
short
ups.
workout. You could do squat, press up, and a row on the suspension trainer.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 amazing exercises. If you do them with good form and good focus, then right there. Is it perfect? Is that what you would do if you were a pro athlete? No. Are you a pro athlete? No.
That's why
So
you
just
work.
yeah. So make the best of your time.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
better than nothing.
Definitely.
Stop seeking perfect, and it's just trying to slot them in basically. That's the only thing. You can't magic extra time.
No.
You can prioritize time for training, and you can be smart about getting in little micro doses of training throughout your week.
Yeah. Good tip, mate. Good tips.
The corn kernel.
Classic Instagram name.
Yeah, we had to clarify this earlier. That it's not corn with a K, like
It's corn with a C, like.
corn with a C, like on the cob. Yeah, like comes out undigested. Yeah. Best high intensity interval training for MTB fitness. So, yeah. Can you guess what I'm going to say? It depends what you're trying to achieve. Obviously, it depends on the time of year, what you're actually aiming for, and how long you've been doing it. You know, if you're totally new to it, then maybe a couple of like 30 seconds of hard work, followed by 90 seconds recovery, 4 to 6 times. That might be a great session.
Something like the
if
assault
you're
bike or...
Yeah,
something
on the
like
bike,
that.
on the
Kettlebell
rower.
swings, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, on the runner, whatever.
Yeah.
Outdoors, indoors, doesn't matter. 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off, 4 to 6 times. That might be a really effective high intensity interval training session for somebody new to training who's also doing some aerobic work. But for other people, that's not going to touch the sides. So then they might be like 30 on, 30 off. Maybe they do 10 of them, so that takes 5 minutes.
Yep.
Then we're going to take a few minutes recovery, and then we're going to do another 10. So we've got 2 blocks of 5 minutes, and in total, each one's got 2.5 minutes of hard work. So in total, we're racking up 5 minutes of really high intensity work, which doesn't sound like much, but it really is.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's like that classic thing. What are we training for? What is the adaptation that I need? Is it repeat sprint? In which case, maybe I'm going to do a 5-second sprint, 25-second recovery, 5-second sprint, 25-second recovery. Very different to 30-30 or 1 minute on, 1 minute off, or 1 minute. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends what you want to get out of it. The bottom line is that for a normal trail rider who's not fussed about racing, is that I would gradually increase the intensity over time.
Right.
So, and ways to increase the intensity would be basically look at the work to rest ratio. So I said for the beginner, maybe you do 30 seconds on, 90 off. Or maybe you do that for 3 weeks. You have a recovery week, and then you do 30 on, 1 minute off. And now it's a harder, more intense session.
Yeah.
Or maybe you add a rep on the end, or another
Right.
rep on the end.
Right.
And so on. And
Yeah.
what you should be looking to do is, over time, those 30 seconds you can do at a higher intensity,
Yeah.
because that's what getting fitter is. Being able to sustain a greater speed or power for a given amount of time. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's that classic. There is no best. It always depends. I'm sorry. I'm not
It's
going to.
true though.
Yeah. And
There
it's
is
one
no
of those,
magic
like,
formula, right?
Sometimes I think, I should just give them what they want, and just say, right, do this. 18 seconds of this.
This is what
12
Aaron Gwynn
seconds
does.
of that. Yeah, do this, and you'll be like Aaron Gwynn. Yeah, you'll be driving a McLaren around town. And
This is the formula.
life
We have
will
it
be
right
good.
here.
Yeah. That's good. That's the last one I've got
Oh, really?
down. Have you got any extras?
Yeah, there's a
in
couple
there?
more actually.
Yeah, cool.
That I just wanted to hit you with because they were quite good. Let me just. At 35 bikes, any tips for losing weight?
Yeah. Okay. This is a whole podcast, really. But what I will say is, at the end of the day, you need to get into a calorie deficit where you are consistently expending more calories than you put into your body. you can do that by moving more and eating the same. You could do that by consuming less, putting less calories in and doing the same exercise, or a bit of both, which is normally what works for most people.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, that is as simple as it is. But that doesn't mean it's easy, as we all know.
Yeah.
So a great place to start is a food diary and get an idea of what you are actually eating.
Right.
Because it's often not as good as you think. When you really write down everything, all those little snacks and bits and bobs. And if you want, you can use a calorie counter and figure out roughly what you're doing.
Do you do that?
No, generally I don't.
It's tough.
It's always, it's hard,
Yeah.
it's quite involved,
Yeah.
and it's always still a bit of an estimate.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can then have a look at opportunities to make some easy reductions. So things like, you might be having a really healthy mid-morning snack of a handful of nuts. Nuts are healthy, really good for you. You should probably eat them sometimes. But they're absolutely jam full of calories. They're super high calories. And instead of having maybe 100 calorie snack, one day without realising you bang half a pack and you've had a 400 or 500 calorie snack, which is closer to a meal.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you're in a calorie surplus for the day. So it's like, right, can I change that snack?
Got you.
Can I, make some slightly different food choices? Maybe some leaner cuts of meat. Can I go from, just trying to think. Yeah, just filling up your plate with more vegetables, which are very densely packed with nutrition, like vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, things like that, but are very low density as far as calories are concerned.
Yeah,
and they'll
yeah.
fill you up with all the fibre.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to be hungry the whole time because you fill up with extra veggies. So then maybe you have a bit less of some other part of the meal.
Meat
So
or the
it's just-
rice or yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
maybe you have, and maybe you don't have such fatty cuts of meat. Now, I'm absolutely a believer that saturated fat is a really healthy and necessary part of our diet if it's from good quality animal sources.
Yeah.
But it may be that, to help you get in a calorie deficit, that you change those cuts for a period of time to help you get in a deficit and things
So
like
it's
that.
a
Or you
simple-
trim your bacon,
Jeez.
and you can add up, like all these little things add up quickly.
Yeah.
You can go, let's say every morning on the way to work, you stop and you get a cappuccino with whole milk, which is cool. I have one most days, really tasty, nothing wrong with that. But maybe you've got 200 ml of whole milk and maybe that cappuccino is a couple hundred calories.
Yeah.
Well, I could still have a coffee every morning and I could probably save 30p a day and get an Americano, which is a lot more water, and then have a splash of milk in the top. And I've saved 150 calories and I haven't really noticed. I'm
Yeah.
no less full, I'm not hungry,
True.
I've still had my coffee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's
definitely.
100 little ways of just chipping away at that deficit.
It's a simple formula of calories in, calories out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And we can increase the calories out by doing a bit more activity, up to a point, obviously, because if you're doing loads all the time, then you can sometimes send your appetite into overdrive, and then you're just hungry all the time. And that's sort of the classic one after a really long, hard mountain bike ride where everyone's just pushing on the climbs and you're blowing. You can't really chat on the climbs. You're blowing a bit, and you get back, and you just can't eat enough, can you?
Yeah, no.
And you've burnt
It's a
2,000.
nice feeling.
and it is, and that's where a lot of the mountain bikers go wrong because they're like at the midway ride, mid stop, you bang a massive slab of cake, and maybe a couple of bars, and you're eating on the way around, and then when you get home, that your watch tells you you've burnt 2,000 calories. Happy days,
Yeah.
And right there's a great opportunity to be in a deficit for the day.
Right.
But then, because you had a massive cake at the lunch stop, and then you smash an enormous carvery or
I think
something.
there's that thing as well saying like, oh, I earned it. I earned
Yeah.
this. It's like,
And that's fine. You have to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
if you want to lose body fat, then it is what it is. I don't make the rules. You need to get in a deficit. So the final thing I'd say on that is there are two ways to go about it. There's short and sharp, where and some people respond really well to like a savage deficit for a short period of time, like where you suffer a little bit, but you know it's only for a few weeks, and you drop that weight, and then you level out a bit, and then you do it again.
Right.
Some people just can't handle that,
Okay.
don't like it, and other people are lots better with a more steady, longer term, just your few hundred calorie deficit a day.
I feel like there's a huge movement right now as well of fasting and
Yeah,
also
yeah,
intermittent
yeah.
fasting.
Yeah.
And there's another term for it which I can't remember off the top of my head now, which is basically just a shorter eating window.
Yeah, that's a type of intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Yeah. So where you'd
Like an 8 hour
you'd only
window
eat
or-
between midday and 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And it's like paleo, fasting, all of these things, you end up losing body fat because for whatever reason, you end up consuming a bit less. Now, because 8 hour window of eating or a 12 hour window of eating, if you eat 1,000 calories too many, you're still going to put on body fat.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah.
And then with things like that, it's just about what works with you and your lifestyle. So I think we chatted about it before actually, and I think for both of us, fasting works quite well actually.
Yeah. Love it.
And I find I'm pretty good fasted, and I'll quite often work all morning at the gym and then just eat at lunchtime.
It's strange that I've got
It's-
some friends that will just not even entertain the idea of it.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
They're just like, I can't do it. And you're like, you'll be really surprised actually.
Yeah.
You can do it quite easily,
Yeah.
and I love it. I mean, again, I think we talked
It's
about
just
it. I love
another
it.
tool.
I love the mental
yeah.
clarity that comes on that second day when you just like, everything's
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
senses are heightened,
Yeah.
you feel good, but you don't think you're going to, but you do. I feel fine anyway.
It's good, and for me, it makes getting in a deficit easier as well.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm eating 2 meals a day,
Right.
basically instead of 3.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and I quite enjoy it as well, like you do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it works for everybody.
No.
Especially a lot of women. Fasting could be a bit of a tricky one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
like with how the body's reacting to hormones and things.
Right.
But moderate fasting
Yeah.
is pretty safe for most people, I would say.
I always go back to that's how we used to be. And
You didn't wake up and go to the fridge when you were a caveman,
Not
did
at
you?
all.
You had to
Not
go
at all.
and like hunt and gather,
Yeah.
and
then you might not eat for a few days,
then you feast at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's funny because with fat loss you'll get the whole no carbs after 6 and all this business, and then the other school of thought is feast at night.
Yeah.
Don't eat all day and then have a feast at bedtime. And what's right and what's wrong? Well, neither's right or wrong. They're just different, And if you lose body fat as a result of one of those techniques, it's because you ended up in a calorific deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with low carb. Now, the only slight difference there is that you get a very quick initial weight loss because the more carbohydrate you eat, the more water you retain in your body.
Okay.
And so you don't eat carbohydrate, you retain a little less water, and instantly you're lighter. Now, so that looks nice on the scales, but actually your body fat hasn't changed.
Right.
So-
You've just lost with water retention.
Yeah, exactly. Same
okay.
with salt as well.
Right.
If you want to just be lighter on the scales tomorrow, just
Yeah.
don't eat any salt at all.
Okay.
Because salt retains water.
Right. Interesting.
But your body fat's still the same. So
Fun.
don't be chasing numbers on the scale.
No,
I think if
no.
you're serious about body fat, then use photos, use measurements, or
Okay.
if you can access one and afford it, then use something like a DEXA body scan,
Right.
which
Give you an
will give you
accurate-
yeah.
Okay. Cool, dude. All right. Well, I'm good. If you are.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Is there
good
anything
actually.
you think
I'm
we missed,
feeling
or-
hungry actually.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I go get a Nando's or something before we drive back to Bristol. But no, I'm good, thank you. And
Good.
And I really enjoy answering these things and trying to share
It's
a
cool,
little.
eh? It's cool.
And
Get a podcast started, dude. Add it to the list.
yeah, man, we'll see.
Get it
Maybe in a
started.
couple of years, once baby number 2's here and,
That's true.
and I'm sleeping and everything,
That's
but
true.
we'll see. But
All right,
if
what you got for us then,
Yeah,
dude?
so
Discount code? Anything going on?
yeah, like
do it.
if you didn't think what I said was total nonsense, and if you'd like to get on board, number one, if you've got any questions, like drop me a line from my social media, and I promise I'll get back to everybody.
Wow.
If there's anything I didn't answer, any I've missed, let me know. I will get back to all of you. Strength Factory _coach on Instagram, and Strength Factory Coach on Facebook. I've changed it at last.
Yeah, I
And,
saw that actually. I was trying to find you the other night.
Finally.
Yeah.
And I also have my online training programs. Now I've got the complete mountain bike program, both the downhill and the trail enduro one, and I've just launched my complete motocross program.
Sweet.
And they are monthly subscription training programs, £32 per calendar month, and each month you get everything you need in the gym, out of the gym, to get yourself ready for racing,
£32 a month,
for
not
riding.
bad, is it?
For,
That's
yeah,
good.
it's good, I think. I mean, it's hard to put a value on it, but it literally has everything you need. Every exercise has got an HD video explaining how to do it safely. It's all built around my principles of training that I've talked about today. This is the approach that you are going to take to build your fitness over time. It's if you think about your gym membership now, because you will need a gym or a very good garage gym to do it, and you're paying 20 to 50 quid a month probably, but you're not actually getting any fitter and stronger or quicker on your bike or motocross bike,
True.
then that's probably not money very well spent, is it?
No, not at
So
all.
spend an extra 32.
Go in there with a plan.
Yeah,
Get in,
and
get
then
out.
then exactly, then you're going to go in there and your gym membership's a lot more worthwhile.
Yeah.
And I stand by what I'm about to say, and I've always had this with all of my programs, and it's ride faster or you get your money back, basically. Because if you do the work, it does work.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So if you'd like to get half price off your first month subscription, use the code HOOKITSTRONG. So HKT Strong at the checkout. We'll get a link up.
Yep.
and
Show
all
description.
that.
It's got everything
Yeah.
down there.
You'll have
it all.
half price off the first month, and then it's £32 a month after that. There's no tie-in, no contract.
Awesome.
Got people all over the world on it, from elite downhill enduro down to like last year, I had 3 people used it to prepare for Trans-Provence.
Oh wow.
And all 3 of them finished it. All 3 of them loved it. They said they had it. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was bang on.
Awesome.
So I stand by it as it's a really good program.
Perfect. So Hook It Strong, half price, first month.
Yeah.
And then obviously if people have listened to this, I'd love to hear from them as well. No doubt people will reach
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, let us know what you think. If there is anything missing, let Ben know.
Yeah, maybe I'll come back on sometime if you're not sick of me.
100%, man.
Yeah,
It's good because we can keep doing regular updates and keep helping people, man. And
I would
raises
love
awareness for what you're doing, it raises awareness for what I'm doing with this stuff as well.
Yeah, it's
whole
good,
new
man.
audience
It's
as well.
good.
It's good. It's all good times, man. And I love having you here.
Awesome.
So if they don't already follow you, it's at Strength Factory Coach now.
Yeah, Strength Factory _coach.
Strength Factory _
on the
coach.
gram.
Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook,
I don't do the
etc.
Twitter.
And your
Twittering.
website?
www.thestrengthfactory.uk.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Well,
Thanks
you.
so much, dude. It's been
All right,
rad.
let's go eat.
Yeah, let's go eat. Cheers.
Yes. Cheers, dude.
Wait.
Boom. It's a wrap.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Episode number 87 is in the bag. One thing I want to say to you guys before we wrap this thing up is if you do have any more questions about strength, training or fitness, join the closed Facebook group and submit your question in there. After this episode goes live, Ben is going to be on hand to answer any of your strength or fitness questions. It's the Hook It Podcast listeners on Facebook. Or if you just want to shoot over an Instagram direct message to Ben, he has said he'll keep an eye on them and he will answer any questions that you've got. Once again, massive thank you to you guys for listening to the podcast. If you have enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. Leave an iTunes review. That means you could win yourself a pair of Saks underwear. And massive thank you again to our sponsors. Most importantly, Works, for joining the podcast. That jet wash is legitimate. If it wasn't good, I would not have them on as a sponsor. I swear to you. It's not about money. It's about it being a legit good product that is going to add value to you guys. And what is better than being able to take a jet wash to the track? It's not noisy. There's no cables. You don't need a generator. You just slide the battery in, boom, wash your bike or your kit or whatever it is you're doing off. I mean, I've been using one for about a month and a half before they joined the podcast. So I wanted to make sure it was as good as what they stated it was. And it is. It is that good. Keep an eye on our social media too, because I'm going to be doing some unboxing videos as well as some tests and stuff like that for them. But yeah, works-europe.com, or head to one of their retailers. There's Argos, Toolstation, Amazon,
I think that's it. There's a few more. Take a look in the show description. You will find a link to Works. And most importantly, most importantly, don't forget you can win yourself 150 quid's worth of Hydro Shot over on our Instagram in the next couple of days. So depending on when you listen to this, just go to @thehookit_podcast and you will find the giveaway right there. Huge thanks to Sax. You know, if it wasn't for Sax, I wouldn't be as comfortable as I am. I've just managed to sit there for another 2 and a bit hours doing a podcast. Didn't itch my nutsack once because it's not sticking. Boom. And you can find everything about the podcast up on hookitproducts.co.uk. Enter the promo code podcast. We'll get you 10% off anything and everything on the website. And I think that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I am loving working from the new studio in Sheffield and having guests come over. Got another episode dropping next week. #secret sessions with a pretty influential guy. And on that note, let's wrap this thing up. Have a great week. Get after it. Make shit happen. Boom. Over and out.